Okay.
We take it out here.
Motion, yeah, we're back in session now. So Larry, I think Al,
So I've asked Larry, who is our county bond counsel, to stay and give a quick little synopsis of, like Supervisor Toll had approached me on the way into the meeting today with a very interesting question about a tax anticipation note. I had delivered a very uncomfortable message last month that I may have to pay the retirement bill in February rather than December because of cash flows. So I thought, because Larry is my bond counsel, why not ask him for a quick little 10,000 foot, what a TAN is, and how those numbers might line up with our needs. That which might be helpful to your question, and then we can go from his tutorial.
Okay, TN.
again, what is TN?
Tax anticipation note. So a tax anticipation note, municipality can issue it in anticipation, exactly what it says, in anticipation of a tax to be received. So whatever the maximum amount of tax you're going to raise, you can borrow up to that limit in the simplest terms. Should I go into some of the detail that you and I spoke about, Al? Or?
Sure.
Okay. So Al was telling me was the fact that the retirement contribution in round numbers, this isn't exact, obviously, let's call it $6 million. And that the idea is that there was going to be a delay of 45 days.
That's the discounted, that's the same.
Okay, so there's a delay of roughly 45 days where you can't, you can take the discount on December 15th and you lose that discount if you pay it on February 1st. So there would be 45 days that you would not be able to accept that discount. And Al just showed me that difference is $44,000 in change. The thought is, okay, that represents, and I didn't do the math on this, but that represents 7.19% over 45 days, prorated for those 45 days. I didn't do the math on that.
It's on the bill.
So the issue was, if you could borrow for a lesser interest rate, would it save the county money to be able to do that? So I know Al was talking about a number in the fours in terms of borrowing. We just did a bond anticipation note for a client. We just got the results in a few days ago at 2.75%. So what we were using outside when we were just talking about this, to make the math simple, because we don't know what interest rates are going to be come December, but on the high side, I believe 3% would be the high side. They're trying to reduce interest rates now, so we'll find out today what the Feds are going to do. But in any event, if you use 3% in that example, if you borrow $6 million at 3%, that annualized is 180,000, which is roughly 15,000 a month, depending on how long you need the money for. We were talking about needing it for slightly more than the 15 days that we're talking about here, so that you'd be able to transfer the funds. We talked about 60 days. If you borrow that for 60 days, 15,000 times 2 is $30,000 is what you pay in interest. The issuance costs are going to be roughly 11,000, maybe a hair over that, because you're going to have a financial advisor do an update of your official statement. So let's even call it $13,000. So it's going to cost you $43,000 ballpark to borrow for that 60-day period, pay the issuance costs, and your dollar amount that you're losing on the discount is $44,000 and change. So that was the basic analysis that Al and I talked about, share with you. I don't know if there's questions about it or what.
So you're saying it's nearly a wash?
It's
almost break even.
Yeah.
Almost break even. Again, if you borrow for 60 days, if you could borrow for 45 days, it'll be a little bit less. And you could, it's just a matter of, you've got to line up your borrowing with your payment. Again, for going back to my numbers, at $15,000 a month for 45 days would be $22,500 plus another, let's call it 12,500 to make the math easy, is $35,000. So there would be a savings then. If you could line it up exactly, there'd be a savings of $8,000 or $9,000.
You actually opened up a much bigger, interesting point.
Yeah.
Um, If we can borrow at 3% and we can invest at 4.1, what are we doing? Why aren't we borrowing the full 7% of full market value of our properties that we're allowed to do and making that differential?
Okay, well, first of all, if you're talking about $50 million, now your issuance costs are gonna escalate significantly.
It's basis points, but I understand the cost. I'm looking at annualized rates.
Right, so, but just put numbers to it. You're talking about a 1% arbitrage, which I'm using that number only because there's limitations on the duration that you can do that. Obviously, you're gonna be borrowing $50 million. You're gonna be investing $50 million. But you then, it's paid back when you receive the tax on a TAN.
Like,
So you'd have to analyze that. So that 1% is what, $50,000? If I did the math right?
I'm actually looking bigger and longer than you're thinking. Our full appraised value in the county is about 4 point something billion.
But you can't borrow on appraised value. You can
No,
only,
but the guidelines are 7%.
You're talking about our debts, you're talking about our debts here.
Our debts, of course, the more we borrow, the worse the rating's gonna be.
Right.
but
But there's no reason not to borrow $250 million,
only if you're gonna raise $250 million in taxes.
Right.
but not on a TAN, on other financing. If we can get 3% versus 4%, it's something to think about.
But again, the idea of, you gotta figure out what you're borrowing for, because a TAN, you can only borrow to the maximum amount of your tax
What
receipt.
Right.
A revenue anticipation note, you can only borrow based on your revenue versus expenses, and you have to have a month in which you have a deficit in order then to borrow on that. I don't think you could ever come up with something to borrow $250 million based on the information that I have.
In traditional borrowing, you would need an actual project with a life expectancy.
Right,
And that's,
it seems to me the most you'd be able to borrow on the TAN,
It's 50
Al
million.
told me it was 50 million.
Ish. Depending on what your levy
42,
is.
42, yeah.
So isn't there in the bond, I know that I just did a bond, a ban.
Mhm.
And there it says you can't use the proceeds of the ban to invest to make money.
That's the arbitrage part.
You cannot just borrow to invest and make money. However, if you can meet the criteria, for example, if you were to borrow money within a fixed period of time that you needed the money for, you're not prohibited from investing during that fixed period of time. So you can make money on it as long as you stay within the parameters of what the purpose of the borrowing is for.
So
The purpose of the borrowing can't be to borrow and invest. That's illegal.
if you borrowed $30 million for this campus expansion program here, you could invest that 30 million while that project was progressing. Does that make sense?
So that's what happened.
And if we decided to cancel the project
We got money back.
years later. No, I mean, the engineering reports came back and it's unfeasible cost escalations.
Now I understand why you're so good.
Yeah. I'd be careful with that only,
Of course.
only because of the fact that if you don't go forward with the project, you wouldn't be bonding it to begin with. You'd be starting out with a bond anticipation note
Good.
until you determine what the maximum actual cost is gonna be, and then you can bond it. But to bond it without a project is not feasible.
But back to our simple little case. in
Yes.
this case, it certainly will be beneficial to issue a TAN for the window of time, because whatever we have, when we pay it back, we're gonna be earning more than we're paying, even when we put in the underwriting fee.
Possibly.
It's gonna be, it'll be close.
Well, I mean, our borrow rate is what our borrow rate's gonna be, the fixed cost is gonna be in the underwriting fee. So we make it a band for 180 days, get a load on the differential, or do we have to pay it back exactly when we get?
So I think the part that's missing, Mr. Tall, is I will be borrowing $6 million and the cash will be going out immediately, it wouldn't be invested. I'd be paying the bill on December 15th with the proceeds of the TAN. There wouldn't be any investment of funds. I'd be using the proceeds to pay.
Your investment is earning the differential in your penalty or reward. That's a 6% interest rate between December 15th and February 1st, a 6% interest rate. You're investing that money at 6%.
But it's for a 45-day period. You can't, you're using the money at the end of 45 days, so you wouldn't be able to invest it beyond that 45 days. You were just saying you could invest it for 180 days,
If
but
we got the money on December 12th and paid our retirement contribution, that's the same 6%. We're gonna be paying, because we save that much money on the retirement contribution annualized.
But it's gonna cost me 42,000 to save 44. And I want to make sure you're.
32.
that's what I'm saying. Is if it's at 3%, it's 6 million, 3% is 180,000 divided by 12 is 15,000 a month. And so if you borrow for 2 months, that's $30,000. The issuance costs, let's call it $12,000 or $13,000, gets you up to 43,000, and your saving is 44,000.
So what a wash.
Well, not really, because if you say 2 months, we repay full 2 months, we will get the money that we get for taxes and we'll have a few extra days. It's annualized rates.
Yes, if you're gonna be receiving tax dollars that you're going to then be investing, then you'd have the yield on those tax dollars as well.
But I don't get them until they don't start flowing until the end of the first week in February.
And this is paid before that.
And
This is paid on February 1st. That's the key.
Well, no, if we borrow, it's to pay it on December 15th.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, in other words, it's,
I want to say the question a little bit different. You can defer paying the retirement till February. How is that gonna impact the cash flow to pay retirement early later in 2026? Is that gonna shift all the time?
My ongoing argument, I shouldn't say argument. My defense of not wanting to do these in the past is borrowing for cash flow has never fixed the underlying problem. So while a TN might get you through this bill, I'm gonna be breaking your heart in a few minutes with, they've released the projections for next year. And it's over 7 that, I have the projection for next year already. So my fear is that the TN doesn't fix the underlying problem. We were having this discussion again, September 11th of 2026. Which we can do, but we haven't.
I wish it would be on September 11th.
Yeah.
But if I was able to take the $6 million and put it in the ICS account till February, then that 4% that I'm earning on the ICS that I think you're talking, so if I can't invest the money, I'm not getting the benefit of that invested money.
You're getting the benefit of the $44,000 by prepaying your retirement contribution.
and you're paying that.
That's more than you would get if you left $6 million from December 15th to February 1st.
You'd still be getting money from ICS, 4%, wherever it's at right
On
now.
whatever he has.
And whatever I have in my possession.
It has nothing to do with ICS.
Right.
It has nothing to do with ICS money. This is just,
But what I'm saying is, it looks like the,
$6 million now. January is 5%.
but the initial numbers look like it's gonna cost me 42 to save 44.
well, you've got an extra 15 days in there, which would give you an extra $6,000 or $7,000. I mean, it's.
Correct.
Right.
You're correct.
And it really, you're not talking apple to apple.
It might be
ERA basis. From time point to time point.
If it would be helpful, we certainly can get an indication what today's rates, what the interest rate would be on a 45-day note or a 47-day note or something like that, to cover the time period you have to make the payment. You're correct that if it's now 47 days as opposed to 60 days, then you're going to be saving another several $1,000s in the overall scheme of things.
I didn't know that if the setup fee was going to be $11,000, I think we would save about 14. That's all. But it's $14,000.
But I think I need to know to go to February 15th when your money starts coming in from the towns. I think I need 60 days.
Okay.
If you need 60 days, it goes back to the numbers I was just banning about before. It's
Either a few dollars to the good or a few dollars to the bad.
Right, it's a couple $1,000.
Wonder where the rate comes in at that point.
Right. Rates drop, you'll save another $2,000.
Dan Shaw.
Yes, Larry, I understand that 2.7% interest on them, no. But tell me, have you ever done many of these scams? Because my feeling from a bank is the interest rate would be higher on a 2 month or 3 month note compared to something longer term, because their process to get through for 45 days, I don't know if you would get it for that low amount.
It's all based on what the treasuries are doing. And so you can get 30, 60, 90-day treasury bills. And so the rates for the same kind of loan is based off of those treasury bill rates. And it's fairly flat at this point. If you take a look at the treasuries now, if you look at a 30-day yield up through a 3-year yield, they're all fairly close in terms of what those interest rates are. So that's why I suggested that if the board wants to consider this, I certainly can reach out to our financial contacts to find out what a 45-day yield would be as of, or what the interest rate would be as of today. Obviously, December is going to be different, but at least it'll give us some idea how close to that 2.7%.
But there's a cost, even for you to get involved in that. And right now, we're not talking enough savings, but I think you enlightened us enough that I would say let's drop the whole idea from what numbers we're working with. I mean, we got bigger problems than saving, making it.
I was gonna ask the question a different way. If we can borrow this money, it doesn't leave our coffers, basically, we're borrowing to pay the bill. So that we don't get that low, but can we pay this back in a short term, like a 3-year band type thing? Is that a possibility or not at all? I was trying to see if we could smooth out, if we're talking a tax increase in the 20 to 30% range, even though it appears higher at the moment, could we do this so we could smooth that out over time?
You can't do it multiple years. The longest you could, I'd have to double check to make sure on a TAN, but the longest you can ever go on a note is 12 months.
Is 12 months.
But with a TAN, there's a limitation on what you can borrow, which I explained a little while ago. And I just want to double check and see if you could, I believe you could stretch that out for the balance of 2026.
I'm just looking at.
It's gonna cost you
We
money.
may have
It's
to
gonna cost you
get,
money.
we may have to get creative to get down under the
I don't think
20%
you can
range.
legally borrow money not to raise tax. And that's what you're talking about.
Well, you're borrowing it to actually pay this bill. It just happens to,
Well, you could raise taxes and pay the bill.
yes.
So
And you eventually will, because that's how you'll pay the
I'm
bill
just saying,
back.
I don't know if it's even legal.
Well,
Larry will tell me that.
It's certainly legal to do a tax anticipation note for borrowing
bill.
money in anticipation of receiving taxes. Has nothing to do with the bills you have to pay. You are gonna be, you're gonna be receiving so much in taxes and you need funds for whatever reason prior to when you're gonna receive those tax dollars. Those are legitimate reasons for a TAN.
Yes.
So
I
It's gonna
believe
be-
you can have up to 12 months to repay that TAN, but I need to double check that. So again, you could borrow, say, for example, in December, and then pay that back over the course of 2026. But I need to double check that to make sure we could go over an additional 11 months after the borrowing.
So Larry, then you could then do another TAN in 2000, at the end of this one, for 2027, right?
Correct.
No matter what the usage is, because it's tax anticipation note. It's not to pay expenses or anything. It's just tax anticipation note.
Correct.
what does it do to your bond rating on borrowing? Does it change it?
You're asking the wrong one. You have to ask your fiscal advisor, but I would think that it doesn't, if you pay it back, I don't think it's gonna impact her.
Okay, that's, I just wanted to know if it was, would have a negative impact.
Municipalities borrow, their bond rating is not determined on necessarily how often you borrow. It's what your financial status is and that you paid it back. You're obviously gonna pay it back on time, but the bond rating is based on your internal financials as opposed to how many times you borrow.
What will be unfortunate is if we have to come to the board and ask for a TAN anyway, regardless of the retirement bill. my cash flow projections right now are weak enough that I'm not sure that holding the bill till February still gets me. I may come back to you with this conversation for a different reason.
But if you
I need
do
to
it,
make payroll in January still.
but if you do it this way, you can get further into the year is what I take. So then taxes would be,
It's further into the year.
The 60 days would be the minimum. that I
your
would-
taxes come in the meantime, and it keeps your cash flow where it needs to be.
Cash flow.
You get most of your cash flow by March and April,
Right,
right?
but you have to pay this, if you have to pay this on February first, you gotta make sure you don't. pay it
Oh, I
all
understand
back,
that. You know,
Because that
one
money
thing-
hasn't come in yet.
One thing you're overlooking, if you start talking about paying it over 12 months, now all of a sudden,
The interest is a lot higher.
right, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's cost you a ton of money. We haven't made money, now we're losing money to borrow, big time.
But we may not have to increase taxes as much as we have cash flow.
That doesn't help you at all.
So
Helps our residents.
the tax anticipation notes are paid at the end of their maturity. It's like a lump sum, you don't pay it over time. And given our current financial situation, it would be prudent to have a TAN in place. We're allowed to do it. I would make it substantially higher than 6 million. We have needs. We're not sure how much we're gonna be overrun, and anything we don't use is earning a positive yield above our borrowing costs at this moment. And prepaying in December is a very wise thing because it is an investment of 6%.
So you just want someplace that I would entertain a conversation. If you want to do a tax anticipation no greater than the bill, we can definitely have that conversation. Because
Yes.
now you've taken the operations into consideration. And I may be way more open to that conversation than borrowing for the bill. If that, so I'm
My
open.
purpose was just because I heard you say
Yes.
to Brian,
Yep.
this exact thing.
Yep.
I would have gladly said much more anticipated,
So
because there was a positive yield there.
I'm definitely open to a larger TAN for operational cash flows. That conversation we can definitely. Borrowing for the bill, I can't get on board with that currently. But borrowing cash flow for the operation, I am listening.
Does the rate change from one to the other?
What do you mean?
Sometimes you can get
Wherever
more
it is on the
beneficial.
Just the tax anticipation, no matter which way it's used, will the rate
It'll be off of
change?
the, it'll be
No.
off of the 30, 60, 90, 120.
Some banks will be
That's what I
better
would
rate.
At the time, will.
The duration will have an impact on the rate. But
And the
as
amount.
I said earlier, right now, it's relatively flat as to what rates are going for a shorter period of time, for 6 months, let's say, versus a year versus 2 years. They're all relatively similar. In terms of what your interest rate is going to be. We don't know what December is going to bring, but that's what it is as of September.
The 6 months at 15 or 20 million, Mr. Tall, is a different conversation.
Better or worse?
I'm more open to it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Well, it helps cash flow,
Yes, yes.
obviously, but whoever made it, I guess, made the point that you're
Yeah,
gonna be paying more interest
you're gonna pay a lot.
during that period of time, but if you're investing it, you're going to be offsetting that.
When could you have that number ready? The conversation,
Which one?
the one you just said that you'd be.
The 15
you'd
and
entertain.
20.
Well, I think Larry if Larry was amenable, he could come to the board meeting next Friday and give an update, right? I mean,
An update on what?
you said you could go out and talk to.
How to find out what rates are.
Larry can come back with some real world numbers.
Well, it depends what your duration is. I was saying because we haven't done a 45 day note recently, I don't know if there would be a substantial
And I think this
difference.
would be more a 6 month than 45 days.
Okay,
Could be up to a year.
It could be up to a year.
it could
but
be up to,
I would know, an operational note, I would definitely be willing to extend the period.
Right, I think that given our
Because then
financial
Mr. Tall's,
situation, it may be something to consider.
so then Mr. Tall's conversation about the money that's invested while the operation's going. Now that becomes a more meritorious conversation, right?
But-
So that's why I would be
Well,
open to
true.
that.
If we get a tan for a year. And we can reduce the burden on the taxpayers.
And that's where I would caution you.
You won't
Right.
be able to reduce the burden.
You
because-
don't reduce the burden, but you smooth it out over the time.
Or number of years.
But I don't think you can
You
levy
can't
less.
have to grow as your deficit.
I don't think you can borrow your way to a lower tax levy. I don't think that works.
Not usually,
That doesn't work.
not usually. That's,
Unless we can print the money too.
We will be pretty money.
the money tree died outside my window. I
Yeah.
looked at it yesterday.
I've got a ton of questions for Al and for you. But I don't know, Larry's here, so I'd say whenever you've got Larry to answer whatever questions you have, I want to go on to more background.
Can we excuse Larry? Do we have what we need from him? Okay. Thank you, Larry. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We need $20 million.
Yeah.
As a gift.
What's that?
We need $20 million as a gift.
Larry.
You're gonna give us him a down, Mr. O'Brien?
What's helping Larry do it?
Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
They do.
We just had a $1.8 trillion, $1 billion Powerball.
We got $273 million. We just borrowed and put the rest in it, $1 billion.
Sorry.
Nope.
Oh, I didn't. Sorry.
Hey, Brian, while you're doing that, can I
Thank you.
ask Al one question about the bill, $6 million bill? Al, can you answer a question while you're
Yep.
doing that?
I can Molly or, right?
I thought what was our issue financially was what happened in DSS.
No.
And so you kept talking about not playing, Dave. And you talked about the $3.5 million.
Yeah,
Now we're talking way more money than that. And so if we took DSS right out of the picture and everything was lovely down there. And we had the 3.5, why are we where we are? There's something else. And is that what's gonna be answered in this meeting today?
Well, that was answered in the main meeting, if you were here.
I've never missed a finance meeting, so
When I presented the financials in May,
yes,
our fund balance, so you set a floor of $18 million, went down to 12.2 million. You're well below your floor. And fund balance has a relationship to cash flow.
absolutely, I get that. I'm a big fan of fund balance.
Yep.
So what caused it in May to drop? I guess is what I must have missed. I heard what the numbers were. I remember those numbers.
We're going, right?
Now, we borrowed for everyone.
I mean, and now you're saying we might have to do it again next year, so is there another problem that we need to deal with?
The net cost of DSS wasn't 3.5 million, it was closer to 10,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
I never heard 10, I always.
It was 10.2. Was that we budgeted for a net cost and they were 3.5 million above that net cost. That's on the net cost sheet.
And then you took another $3.8 million, right, or 3.2, what's this year, what'd you take for this year? 3 point something to make.
Yes, yeah,
We took like 3.8 to make this year's budget balance.
right, because we didn't want to override,
In order not
we
to.
did all the work to override the cap and at the last minute, everybody decided not to.
But I think we're not answering this whole question. Healthcare costs is a big impact. Retirement costs is a big increase. This year and gonna be next year, as Al's gonna tell you later.
Yes,
So it's not just DSS, there's multiple pressures being put on it.
yes.
Our tax cap is under $1 million this year, it's 980 something, if I remember right, I can look it up for you.
988, I think you told me.
And it's not just the fringe costs, it is the actual cost of labor. We're way behind and we're gonna be getting these top line numbers, which is what the employees look at. They don't realize that a $50,000 a year employee costs us another $38,000 to $42,000 in fringe, when it only used to cost us $27,000 to $32,000 5 years ago. And that's really
Oh.
what we're facing.
You're accurate, but not accurate, and I don't mean to be rude.
Probably not, because I've only
No.
been here for a year.
Wages were so low that we were at 40%, then we raised them and they were at 20-30%. No, so it keeps changing back and forth.
And we're at the end of what's gonna be a sticky inflationary period, if everybody's still catching up and all that were rated,
Or the beginning.
Yes.
hopefully not at the beginning.
If we're settling contracts at the current rates, Those aren't even factored into the budget.
Right, though, that's where the problem is.
Looking at
That's where the
scheduled
real problem is, and
contract.
we'll have that discussion later.
Sorry,
Kinda gotta go in order.
It sounds like we got. a
But
lot.
yeah,
I didn't mean to.
no, I don't have a problem with that. I just, we gotta go back to the agenda now unless anybody's got other questions.
Okay.
Sue, did you have another question?
The only question I had was for Al, wondering about this, data. What would be the ceiling height and what would be your length of term? That you would feel comfortable with? That's adding.
So what I would ask the board for is somewhere between a 6 and 12 month term. And I'm wide open to any number north of probably 15 or 20. So don't borrow less than that because you haven't really done the county any favors at that point. If you're going to take out a TAN, make sure that you actually help the operations while doing it. If you're gonna put the county in a place to where they're gonna have to pay an interest payment, make sure that operationally it was worthwhile. Because if I come to you in January and tell you that I can't make the second payroll in January, I don't ever want to deliver that message, right? So make sure that if we're gonna do a TN, and honestly, I would respectfully ask you, if we're gonna go down that TN road, I would like to have that discussion before we leave the room today. Because the process, you gotta have seeker, bond resolution, public hearing. I gotta get an official statement out to the borrowing, fiscal advisors, right? So my goal would still be to make that December 15th. I'd still want the TAN in place by December 15th. To take advantage of the early prepayment and have the money invested for the operations for 2026. Right, so I'd still really like to make that December 15th milestone. If you're gonna consider a TAN at all. But I am open to a larger TAN that addresses the cash flow problem bigger than the retirement bill. If that makes any sense.
Yes. And the interest rates probably could change in the near future, so.
With any luck, they're gonna go down.
They should go down.
In general, if we get the money from the TAN, we will have cash that we will be parking and we can lock that term in phase through time.
Yes.
It's always gonna be higher than we're investing in when there's a positive tax rate because we issue tax exempt debt. So it may be like 3 now versus 4. We would have a positive.
For every day that money stays invested, he's correct.
But as interest rates come down, our ICS funds percentage also.
But I don't think it'll ever bridge the gap. I think
You can
Mr.
also
Tall,
do term, instead of ICS, you just buy treasuries as well. You can do a ladder of treasuries.
All right,
We might have to-
Yes, you can.
we have a whole group of legal things we can do and ones we can't.
you have an investment policy in place.
Jen knows how.
This is way above my head. I think it ought to be discussed amongst the people that know what they're talking about, so they're having us. 12 of us out of 17 sat here, and it's up here. My next statement is it their question, is this a Band-Aid or will it help?
It's full.
It's.
So if we borrowed $20 million and borrowed it for a whole year, and on average, we had 10 million that we were bleeding out, we would make $100,000 net at 1%. So it would help us by $100,000 on just the interest rates. Larry would tell us the issuance cost would probably be about 25 or 30. So it would be positive.
And you pay that off at the end of 12 months.
Yeah.
And we would profit.
We would
$80,000.
be $80,000 better off, $70,000 better off than we would be if we didn't.
And our health insurance fund saves 75% of the copay on my anxiety pills.
And you're a healthier man sitting there. It's all good.
Okay, that was basically that 2-minute explanation. Figured it out for me for the last 45 minutes.
Sorry.
No, it was a good explanation.
But I think it was a good exercise for the board to hear what they even are.
And impressive that we've got other rules. ways to go that are somewhat helpful.
They're somewhat helpful,
They may
but-
not be things we would normally consider doing.
Right, that's the other
Right,
thing.
but it's,
And according
you
to,
may have,
it's according to what comes down the road, like with Medicaid. Like, do they take off the cap? I mean, then you're in deep trouble, or even if they raise the cap. Can have a huge bearing on where we're at right today and where we'll be tomorrow.
And if you believe the prognosticators at NISAC that we just spent the past 3 days with, there's no good news coming. The big beautiful bill passed down some costs from the feds to the state, and I promise you the state will push to the counties.
So we haven't talked about it, but it is probably appropriate to discuss the sales tax increase by 0.5%, which would be $5 million. It takes a year and a half to do that, I think.
Well, can
And
Big Ten,
I would respectfully ask if you're gonna go in, go out, go to 8.
you gotta go to 8.
If we're an island at 8, around neighbors who are 7,
Well,
Those are the only 2 neighbors. Everybody else is
it
8.
doesn't need it like we do.
No, but every other county is at 8 in the state. We're the only ones.
just have the discussion this weekend.
Okay, and then
Saratoga is the one that's a wild card. They increased their occupancy tax
In lieu of,
in lieu of, because they're gonna make more
well, they have
money.
so much more occupancy.
Right.
So in that, if we did 1% and it stayed the same, it's $10 million, that's basically 30% of our current tax load. It's actually a very good savings.
and we have presentations in Mr. Hall that I don't know if you're here for, that I would love to share with you on what 8% looked like for Washington County and how that distribution to the towns would even look. So I'd love to share that with you.
Thanks.
And it's never as smooth as you think, because you can't get your own representatives to carry the water for you, and they've gotta. And we had different ones get it one time, so they probably just made a deal. One said, yeah, I'll vote yes, the other said, yeah, I'll vote no, and then they swapped. And
So there is a lobby again this year to have the governor put in her budget the ability for all of the counties to automatically go to 8%.
oh, so that
It
would
was
make
there,
it
it was
easier.
presented last year and didn't make it. It's coming, that looks like it's gonna be resurrected again. So if that was to happen,
Right.
you then wouldn't need the home rule bill. You would just, as a board, be able to decide.
And to let you know exactly why they've never done that. They like holding up things with the extenders passing, because everybody's already apt for it, except for us 3 counties.
It would make those
So-
extenders not necessary.
That would make the extenders not necessary for all the other counties, but they like to use that to hold it against them. And one year they actually withheld them for what, like 4 months and kept all the money. So it was really weird. It was-
That discussion is happening again.
But I think that if the budget does it through, if the government does it through the budget, it wouldn't be as impactful on our local representatives. There's our local representatives, there's a couple of said they won't do it.
I think there would be less resistance as a budget. Yes.
It's just my recollection that when we talked about this last year, that the representatives said that if we could get at least 2 or all 3 counties on board, they would represent this and bring it forward.
If all 3 went together, it would
Yes.
definitely have much more weight.
I think they wanted all 3 to go.
They wanted all 3.
Because Warren was begging us to go, and
To go.
Saratoga was saying.
And Saratoga
Correct.
with the occupancy
Correct.
tax rate instead.
But
But again,
Chairman, to Al's point, and we all hear this repeatedly out at the meeting, but, the budget though was certainly be quicker. Brian said 18 months, I think probably at least double that.
Yeah.
As a pragmatic thing, I mean, what did they get then?
The mortgage tax
The
was
mortgage
5
It was
years.
5 years that I was working on that.
Yeah.
And the only reason it passed, because I was sitting down there watching them when they did it. That's the only thing. Brian fortunately called her at that time, so well, Bob's down there, it's, oh. When they voted yes, otherwise it would have been a no-show.
Yeah. Cause what they do when you're not watching is impressive. Or don't do it.
But I don't think, I'm thinking this is gonna, that if we do it ourselves, thinking that's gonna save us in a year, it's
Not feasible.
it's probably gonna be 3 or 4.
Supervisor Shaw, I've already scheduled a meeting with our bond council.
Mhm.
If you'd like to be invited to that, I would love to have you there.
Sure.
Not Larry, our the fiscal advisor.
Yeah, it's very
I-
interesting.
So I talked to him at the NICEAC conference this week, and we've already set up something for Melissa and Brian. I'd love to invite you to that
Let
meeting.
me,
as well.
no.
Yeah.
Very good.
Just, going back to important services. Our unions reported today, New York State spent 1.3 billion on Medicare recipients that were residents of New York State.
That came out from cities yesterday. And I. After this is all over today, I was gonna get on social service and ask. If they thought that was gonna have a direct impact on us, because it looks like they're making back audit the counties now, they've audited the state. I don't know where we stand on that, whether we stand to,
If the state thought they'd get money back out of us, they would.
well, if the state's gonna have to get money back. If they figure out a way to blame us and take it away from us to do it, that's the key, is I want to have that, start that discussion.
Or do you raise the Medicaid cap or take it off and just take it a different way?
Yeah, there's
That's-
several
And
bad things that can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna bring it up, but they did.
But the pace we're going tonight, it'll be, by the time we're done.
We don't yet know the impact on the heat and SNAP changes yet. Where the feds have pushed the local share down to their state, and the states passed that local share on the counties based on their error rate.
Right.
It was very interesting over the past 3 days to learn what the error rate means. It doesn't mean that any of our caseworkers made a mistake, interestingly enough.
right,
An error rate could be, Supervisor Clary, you have SNAP benefits with the county, and you told me that you make $300 a week, but you worked 2 days overtime this week. So the wages that were reported to the Department of Labor for you don't match what your SNAP benefit application said. That becomes an error, through no fault of the counties. I didn't even know, so I got an indication of what the error rate was.
Yeah.
And based on New York's error rate, we're looking at some significant cost shifts in SNAP benefits, so hang on.
and I think I mentioned that. In the April meeting, they failed on like 15 of the 17 criteria, something crazy. I just remember that off memory, because I knew that. And so we knew they were coming back to haunt us.
Finding out some of the things that when they say they failed, why they failed.
Yeah.
Was a whole-
that's-
Whole different.
Seeing
whole different reason.
seeing behind the curtain was a.
Nothing anybody could do about it. Horrific.
So there's no amount of staff that would have made a difference.
Right,
The one thing with SNAP, I mean, regardless of what's going on here, which is a lot going on here. I had a meeting with the Rotary Monday night because we always do the heat fund. Okay, so the heat fund is after heat. And it helps the community of the town of Down. And so it picks up those costs that they incur that they can't afford. And helps them to stay warm and in their homes. So, that being said, if they don't get the amount from heat, that's gonna raise our costs at the
could do the same
the
thing.
heat fund to do the same thing, so it'd be better to know and plan. Rather
And-
than so I did talk to Bob yesterday and said, do we have data for heat, if people in each town, do 100 people in the town of Salem get heat benefits? And if so, then we can plan to figure out how to
And
make up that difference.
the scary part for me, Supervisor, beyond just the heat benefits,
Right.
was if I heard them right, they are now also not covering weatherization and equipment replacements, which are probably two of the larger numbers in the heat program.
Absolutely.
So not only is it possibly affecting the amount of heat grants that are awarded, but two of the biggest cost savings and beneficial parts of the program look like they may be no longer covered.
And is that because we're going to all electric?
If somebody furnace blows out, it's up to you.
No, it's because
No,
of,
no,
it's
right.
because of the federal shift down.
But that's
That's their way of replacing them.
looking,
You gotta replace them with electric now.
yeah, looking in non-linear.
That's
That's
what that's about.
Except they came from the feds, not the state. That's a state mandate.
Yeah.
But anyway, just none of it, Supervisor, I spent 3 days and I have nothing positive to tell you.
We know it's going somewhere. But the big thing for me is planning for my community. And so if this is not coming, I'm not gonna have someone freeze to death in their home because nobody knows what that's going on. So I want the numbers.
So the equipment and weatherization piece, I would start preparing yourself for.
Thank you.
Oh, Brian, sorry.
Yep, county administrator, I think you're up first. Oh, accept the minutes. Moved by James, second by Sam, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried, okay.
County administrator,
Now you're ready.
We passed out the renewal rates for the natural gas supply contract. And I believe last year we had a 1-year contract. So it's time to decide, I guess if we want to go with a 12, a 24, 36, or 48-month renewal. This is did Brian, did you know?
It was up 7 cents when we looked, it was up 12 when it came in today. So this is the one where you have to pass it and run down the hall and.
Have the chairman sign it.
Yeah, well, they have to get it locked in and then you sign it, right?
Yes.
The gas price,
Yeah.
Right? Was there any, did we see any advantage in locking in for 1 year versus multiple? Howard.
I haven't done an analysis. I can't.
I haven't done it now, I just got it.
Well, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do, 1, 2, 3, or 4.
You know, I mean, if Bob has to run back and forth 4 times in the next few years, then maybe.
yeah, but I mean, it's changed 3 cents in the past week, so. You know, who knows what it's been.
Has it gone down or gone up? Fine.
How long did we do the last one for?
Well, but it was $4.32.
Yep.
And so. I don't know, just looking at that, if it was me, I guess I'd take the 36 one.
I think the 36 too, these are the numbers.
But I don't know.
I think we should probably take into consideration the fact that the state passed that law that no new buildings will have gas, so their customer base is gonna be dropped off. They're just gonna raise prices for those of us that are still.
That's a good possibility.
I make a motion to go 36 months.
I'll second it. Okay, moved by Dave, second by Jim. Anyone else? Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Run, Bob, run.
Opposed, carried. Okay, we gotta go back to number 1. We gotta pass the personnel contract that Larry just talked about. So moved by Dave, second by Sam. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, carried. Anthem retiree health insurance.
That's the health insurance for the retirees, the Medicare Advantage plan is through Anthem, and that renewal is up. Their increase, I had here somewhere, and now I don't see it, was a 3.3% increase from last year. Their current monthly premium is $295.52. The new monthly premium will be $305.27. We're looking to renew that contract with Anthem and have the chairman sign that contract.
By Dave. Second by Sam. Jim. So, any discussion?
Any single digits in healthcare right now is a win.
Is it win? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, okay, treasurer, most of the debt.
So we're gonna need a resolution.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Your handy dandy packets.
Just cover the good news, Al.
So we beat some of this into the ground already, so I'll get through this as quickly as I can, but there's some important stuff here. Sales tax, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this because anything I tell you will be an absolute guess and no basis in fact. So the good news was the deposit that came on the 8th was up $328,000, put the $695 up for the year. Didn't quite erase all the negatives, but I'm hoping, I have no proof of this yet. But I'm hoping that we're starting to see some of the STR sales tax. Because remember, the law required the platforms to start collecting sales tax as of March 1st. And there's such, and they passed it like 2 days before the period began. So there was no possible way for the platforms to react that quickly. So there would have been some kind of staggered,
Some kind of lag.
some kind of compliance would have been staggered in. And based on when we get our deposits, so the deposits we get now are actually from like 45 days ago, so I'm hopeful that that 328 includes some of the new STR sales tax, which would be great.
Would be better if it
And
didn't.
unfortunately,
It was still coming.
it would be better if it didn't, right? It unfortunately also includes some sales tax from gasoline, which I saw go up about 16 cents. So while it costs us more at the pump, there is more sales taxes generated from the increase in the pump price as well, so.
And what was the rhyme or reason? Do we know why it went
So
down
we
and back
still
up?
don't know.
Cause in Vermont, I had to get my truck service. It was $3.19 in Fairhaven, which I was like, whoa.
Which is high for Fairhaven, right?
Which is high for Fairhaven. I was like, $3.19.
In between here and Buffalo, I saw so many random prices, I couldn't even make rhyme or reason out of
Yeah,
how they priced
so I don't know what's going on there.
from here to there.
Yeah.
Depends on when they get.
That might be our saving grace.
I think everybody should go visit Jim's Great Town of Greenwich, because I swear they have the lowest.
Companies in Greenwich, man, that's,
Should go check out Jim's Town. Giving you.
I love it. So the good news is we're up currently 695,000 over this same time last year. I can only hope that worst case scenario, we stay flat. Best case scenario, that new trend is actually a trend.
Well, this is the first good sign.
It's the first good sign
In
that we've
what,
had. in
4
sales
or
tax.
6, in a lot of them. So, we should know before we vote on the budget in November if we're still trending up or if it all goes away again.
Yeah, we have another couple finance meetings before you have to pull the trigger,
On that actual number.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was 900,000 back on June 13th. Or just 3 months later,
and then you're.
and we went down and back up.
There was a lot of talk that, people were buying cars around that time because of the tariffs.
Yeah.
And I did talk to 2 of our 3 dealers, and they said that's exactly what happened to them.
So
They had their car sales were way up.
for my 30 years here, that has been the number one sales tax driver in Washington County, auto sales. So if that's a fact, that would definitely drive a spike for sure.
Yeah.
It's one of the few things that doesn't matter where you buy it, pay the tax here.
Right.
So that's the only benefit.
Depends on if you're electric or gas
Yeah.
cars.
Second page in your packet is our current cash position. And what I wanted to point out was today in my general fund, I'm sitting at 21.5 million. But at the same time last year, I was sitting at 26.2 million. I ended up last year at 7.5 million. So if you extrapolate the same cash flow from year over year, I'm gonna be 2.5 million at December 15th. So
That's why.
Supervisor Tull's opening the door for a tan is very well timed because we're gonna have a cash flow conversation today, and he made that much more palatable. And I don't know if this is the part of meeting where you actually want to have that conversation.
Might be best.
Uh,
We're right on it.
And while we're here, I think that this, if we're gonna entertain a tan, we should begin that process now. And if you're looking at a tan for 6 to 12 months at least 20 million, I'm listening.
I think we should investigate it and hopefully never need it, but I think we should go to 6 to 12 month and just protect ourselves. Because
Well, the
what
such thing
happens,
is not needing it. If you start me down that path, I'm going to borrow the money. It's not a drawdown.
It's not a drawdown. You take it all.
I actually borrow the money.
you borrow the money, but what I'm saying is that questions about sales tax. If we project we're gonna get $30 million this year, we only get 28 by, that's gonna put a significant burden on it.
My point was if cash flow is flat from last year, I'm gonna end up with 2 million in the bank, and that's a scary, scary number for me.
So do we need a motion to have Larry bring those numbers to?
So if there's a motion that comes out of this committee, I will work with Larry to get you something on the floor. Because then timing wise, for borrowing, do I need 2 months turnaround or is it same month? You have to set a public hearing, right, on the borrow?
Public hearing, and say.
So in September, we'd set a public hearing, October, we'd actually pass the seeker and bonding resolution. And that would give me time to have cash in hand by December 15th bill. So I would respectfully look for that to begin now.
I'll move it. How much do you want?
That I'm gonna leave the number up to you all. I would like nothing less than 20. To make it worth the county's
operations.
40 million.
We don't.
I don't-
raise 40.
I wouldn't go,
We
I
don't
wouldn't
raise
go 40.
40 from.
I
We say
think,
more than 20.
I think 20 to 25 is really, if you're asking my comfort level, that would be my,
Thank you for finally committing what your number is, 25 million.
Well, can TANs, we have to check, can TANs be against any taxes receivables or ad valorem tax
Right.
only?
That's hard to know the rules.
our ad valorem tax, our levy.
Okay.
It's against our levy,
Because.
which is currently 39 million going to whatever,
It's 37.9.
37.
Headed to 52 at the moment. With some things still.
But you have to
missing.
remember, I don't get 100% of what you levy. Which is why it wouldn't ever go to the max.
Right, but we don't have to make the final decision today. We can say, go ahead and get the numbers for up to 25 and start the process.
Well, you're gonna set a public hearing, and in theory, you would want,
A number to.
A number.
But the public hearing is not gonna be for a month and a half, right?
but you'd set it next Friday.
Right, and you'd have to have the number included when you advertise the public.
So we'll have more information by next Friday, so we can put the number in, can't we?
What information do you want?
At what level you'd like it to be at.
Well, that could be that. We'd also want to know the information what the cost of volume is also. Put that in.
He wants to do a number now. Right?
I need a number to come out of committee.
So
So
25
Al,
million.
25, you like 25?
25 work? I'll move to 25
6 or 12 months.
for discussion.
Why do you move them?
What's on your price? You said 40,000.
40 million, but.
40 million, whatever.
I was trying to get Al to commit.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yeah, 6 or 12 months. What do you think? I don't know.
How long? Picture.
Well,
Are you pointing to me?
Yeah,
I don't wanna talk until you get your second in motion. Then I-
you did. Sam seconded that.
Oh, okay. My question is, why 25 million? Why not borrow what you need to be safe to go through? Because we gotta pay it back. We're not making any money other than what you might make off interest.
Which should be about $100,000.
$100,000 is what you'd make off.
Possibly.
This is ridiculous.
600
Well-
comes in at.
The point is, why, you gotta pay it back, and you only can do it for what you need, or we should only be doing it for what we need. Do you need $25 million to get till taxes come in?
well, we're talking
I
about a
mean-
year.
Quiet, Dave, quiet. I'm asking Al, do we need, if you needed 12 million or 20 million, I can live with that. But just to come up with a number, because it's a bigger number sounds better to make interest off from, I can't support that. So all I need to know is how much you need to cover your expenses. And I don't wanna borrow any longer than we have to, and I think that 6 months would get you taken care of. Because if you're a shortfall next year, you gotta do it again then. We aren't gaining anything. No, I got a question Al, and I'm waiting for him to give me his thoughts, just your thought.
I think 12 to 15 is the minimum, Supervisor, to get me to February 15th.
You get it to February 15th.
Because I'm gonna be at 2 million projected in December. That's a scary, scary number. $1.2 million payroll. Twice a month.
But we're only raising
39, 38, whatever the number is.
whatever that is.
37.
And you're gonna have all your taxes in,
No, I'm gonna have whatever you send, which is a portion.
not by February, no, I'm talking. Somebody's talking borrowing it for a year, you're gonna have most all your money in by the middle of the year, aren't you?
Nope.
Yes. By the middle of the
You
year.
wanna know how much you turned over to me unpaid last year in April?
In April, okay, how much?
Hold on, I'll get you that.
But still, that's past April on
Right,
16th.
June is.
And so all I'm saying is I wouldn't borrow any more than what was necessary and for no longer than what was necessary. I don't wanna be borrowing money for pie in the sky making money. Cause I've never seen the county make money or anybody make money off borrowing. And that you gotta pay back within a year's
You
time.
can, but you gotta be out.
Yes,
So just because we are raising what, 37,000 or 37 million,
doesn't mean that we get anywhere close to that with people not paying taxes. We're saying more and more
That's what I'm
people not paying their school taxes, not paying their town, county, not paying their village. And then Al has to make everybody whole before the county.
That's the number I'm looking at now.
Yeah, so
6.9 million.
just explain, just because we're saying we're making 37 million, we're not getting close to that number every year.
And that's why,
Realistically, when it comes to the amount of.
and that's why a 40% tax increase won't make that number better. That's what I'm concerned about.
You're talking 26. But what's your,
Off of, if you went off of this year's levy. Next year's levy is gonna be far north of this year's levy.
Really?
So, as I understand, being the newest guy here, we did as a board set a floor for our fund at $18 million.
Yeah, we're way below that.
What we need to determine is, are we willing to borrow to keep it at $18 million that is positive earning interest? Because I understand your concern. But then as a fiscal issue, if you have a situation that allows you to borrow at 3% and invest at 4% because of the way things are, isn't it prudent for the town to do that for the taxpayers of the county, for the county?
Supervisor Shaw, Supervisor Tall just touched on how I came up with my number. My $12 million is the $6 million you're under your floor, the $6 million I need for the bill. So 12 million is 12 to 15, that's how I got that number.
To keep us at
To keep us at our floor,
feeling for it.
to keep us at our floor and pay the bill.
Right, and see that, there you go, that's the answer I was looking for.
So that's
The
the,
25 million is, to me, it's just pie in the sky thinking we can make more money.
so the minimum amount to help the county's operation is 12. And that's how I got that.
But that's if
But there
everything
is-
goes.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
my
so-
point, there is uncertainty, right? We know, every month we hear something different.
And the
So I
higher we
think
go
we
with
need to go
that,
higher just to make sure we
Is
have.
that, is that $6.9 million of unpaid taxes gonna be bigger if we do go to 40%?
yes. A lot
My
bigger.
guess is yes.
based on some of the traffic I've seen on Facebook talking about school taxes, I think that number's gonna be bigger.
Oh, yeah. No, it's been a huge concern this last week.
Supervisor Roosevelt?
If we do this deal, that's not gonna help lower the 40%.
Nope.
No.
It's gonna make sure we can make payroll and I'll pay all our bills.
It's gonna give us a comfort level more than anything else. I don't even see it as much as a comfort. Well, it's for health.
Yeah, you
Bill. It is for help pay the bill.
That's the only
A
comfort.
little Band-Aid.
But you don't wanna get too comfortable thinking that's, you'd like at some point to not have to
So
do that.
I'm gonna repeat what I said earlier. The borrowing doesn't fix the underlying problem.
Yes.
But it still may be necessary.
And I definitely appreciate Supervisor Shaw and other opinions, but if I were running an operation and I could borrow money at 2% and invest it at 3%, and I'm a shareholder operation, I would be remiss and called bad things for not doing it. So on the one hand, we come from a very deep background, never borrow, never get in debt, but we need to make the money where we can instead of taxing people an extra $100,000 next year. We'd save that through borrowing and investing in guaranteed instruments.
Our problem has been, we've been treating our position up here as a board of directors corporation. And what we're really here doing is representing the taxpayer. And nobody feels the pain when this business, we should have gone out of business because it's been so bad.
Yes.
And now we're talking 40% borrowing money just to hold on till we get to 40%, and you're looking at the same thing next year. Same thing.
We should have been doing TAN every year anyway. Regardless, even if we're fine, we should be borrowing as much as we can to make a percent. That would be a policy that would make sense. It's allowed, as far as I understand.
It sounds like this one's very break even, the first one we talked
Well, the little
about.
one, right?
Right, this bigger one, you might make a little bit.
But
Which is why I'm
the
in
problem
favor
is
of
not
it.
getting solved. We would-
But you know what, $100,000 is let's say that's 1.5 people a year, and we've been increasing by 18 people a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, where's the problem? The
No,
problem is
totally
us. We've allowed the horse out of the barn, and now we gotta get a mortgage on the barn.
Right.
So we gotta look at this differently, and I agree with what everybody's saying, we need to do something. So I'm not gonna say, oh, no. No, I don't have an answer, and I don't disagree with what they're saying. I'm saying the general philosophy at this county, and this is why I'm leaving. I'm a cheap sucker, and I don't fit in it. But I really am concerned where we're going. And this, I've only got a few months left to voice my concern, so I'll try to keep it down, but I hear what everybody's saying.
What I'll throw out there, Supervisor, is for the farmers in the room, okay? I got a little bit of an education recently too, because I have no basis in agriculture at all. It's my understanding that farmers quite regularly will borrow against their crops. And that's kind of what a TAN is to me, right? That's not uncommon to some of the farmers in the room. And that kind of is what a TAN is for the county, is what I like it.
I think that we're trying to find one solution for all this. There's not gonna be one solution. There's gonna be multiple solutions. There's gonna be pieces putting up. This is just one piece of a solution to help us make sure we have the right cash flow so we can make it through July, August, December. Still around
So do we need
Yeah.
a motion?
there. Go ahead, we got a motion.
Got a motion for a second.
And
25 minutes.
for 1 year?
As,
1 year.
as a town taxpayer in my home, I feel we've got to do something different. This is okay. I've been going through the budget process now. And I've had a lot of things at the town level because I know what's happening, what's gonna happen at the county level. Luckily, I have, how do I wanna say it, my road crew and all those, they know it also, they agree, we've got to do something. And I'm gonna have to agree with what's proposed to stand. Only because whatever we've done here previously,
Right. Before we vote on this, question to Al. Are you comfortable with 6 months or 12 months? At 6 months, could we renew it? We needed to.
Each one's separate.
Each one's separate.
It has to be paid within the fiscal year.
Right. So you go to the next fiscal year.
Then
do it
the
again.
issuance cost.
If you're gonna pay the fixed cost for issue another rating, you may as well go for the length of time that the maximum length.
And I don't disagree with it.
Cause that's where you can
We
make
got
the
the
most
house
of
to
it. That's where you can make the most if there's anything to be made. Problem is, by the time it all goes through and our cost to set it up, there may not be as much as we think there is, and there could be more. Hard to know.
I've got one more question. We've heard what's good about it. What would be a bad point?
We gotta pay it back.
No, we know that, but
Yeah,
The bad,
We mismanage the interest rate situation.
yes.
When we borrow, it's at a fixed rate. Let's say we borrow at 2.99, it's 3%. If we invest in the bank's rate, that now is almost 4 or still over 4, but it plummets to 1.5, we're screwed.
Right, and that's a good,
But you can invest
but it is
longer
possible.
maturities of treasuries that are above your 3%.
and
So
that's
it's a
part of,
management issue.
and that's part of what I do for you now.
okay.
But there's a possibility when it's in flux that they're equal or you lose a little. It does happen. Cause they charge you a percentage for doing it too.
Christopher out, keep knowing about this before. Remember a few years ago, we had a ban because we had so much money out on the grant projects, and the highway projects, that we hadn't received back yet, because they are slow to pay us back. We have used this for that too.
Sure.
So I mean, that's the same type of idea. I would liken this to an operating credit line for any business, where they borrow and pay back. Only you have to go through a lot more steps. A lot of big businesses would do that.
And when I learned about how the farmers leverage their crops, that made a lot of, that kind of registered with me that this isn't unlike that.
Thanks.
25 million per year, is that where we're looking at?
Yeah, that's what we finally got commitment out of you for, so let's go with it.
And we had a motion.
Before I change my mind.
We had a motion in a second, I believe. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, Carol.
Okay, page 3. I'm not gonna waste any time on the budget, the actual report, because that's gonna be covered pretty well in Mr. Campbell's enough, if I have a feeling. We're not doing even as good as we did last year at this point, let me just say that. So let's get to the good part of the report.
Thank you.
You have a page that looks like this, it's your sales tax distribution. You're all doing your budgets right now, and if you haven't finalized them, you probably want this number.
That might have, yeah.
Might be the last good one, yeah.
Where is it?
The page that looks like this. In my packet, Ryan, not.
You should know. I found it.
Oh,
Yours isn't in color.
thank you.
And it's not.
My complaint is that color.
So you
For a
look at
change.
the part that said Hampton, and you follow the line across.
No, I was
You
looking,
got your number.
I was looking for the yellow like his.
So total distribution is what each town's getting.
Yes, sir. It'll show with a gray shaded column for you.
Right,
With yellow
right.
for me.
Yep.
And then all the way at the right, it shows you your variance from this year. So some of you are actually down. But that's how the math works, because 50% population and 50% equalized valuation, so.
But I can't honestly put caution on. Use this bigger number. Next year it falls. That's gonna impact on your taxes for 2027.
I would not disagree with that.
I would prefer to go with a lower number, but
The next page after that is one of your most wonderful things you look for every year. Duke County. Here's your Duke County number. So anybody who has a negative could be receiving a check from the county treasurer to make you whole. Anybody who has a positive has the opportunity to pay the county treasurer directly, not have it go on their levy. But please remember that Duke County, if it's not paid to me to make it go away, becomes part of your levy. And what most of you have to end up then doing is have a conversation with your taxpayers. Because it ends up showing up, even though I pose it on you, it shows up in your townwide rate, that is how I remember it. And Mr. Heft used to give me a hard time all the time because he would tell his residents, I have a 1% increase. The bill would come out with like a 2.7. And it's because I had Duke County and workers' comp thrown in there on them. So this does affect you if you let it ride on your levy. Some of the smaller amounts won't move the needle at all. Some of the larger amounts you may choose to pay to them. Supervisor Thomas.
What went on with 40N, bigger sales tax, but they owe you too. They're the two biggest numbers,
So Moran actually owes me $11,000.
but their sales tax went up by 22%.
So these numbers here are usually a factor of corrected bills. These are almost entirely corrected bills in your town. So
Interesting.
when you get an email from me that says, do you want me to refund on your behalf? And you say yes, that generates this sheet.
Got it.
When there's a corrected bill, you could refund the taxpayer directly.
Mhm.
You have that right.
But how'd they get it's half population and half
Or sales
levy
tax.
for sales tax, so it's interesting there.
Yeah.
They're flip
Your local law that you passed as a board made that math. It used to be a flat $1 million.
Got it.
And then it went to 7% of a measurement period. That measurement period is, we set the measurement period so you could have a number in time for your budget.
Thought I had to put this negative in all. On this one, your Duke County to me.
So I owe you money this year.
You owe me, $1,319.81. On the very next sheet, you got a number of 164,552. Why are those two different numbers?
What?
One's Duke County and one's due you.
You have a number in two columns. There's 327 in the first column.
Yeah.
And 1647 in the second column. The net of those two is the 1319. I owe you, you owe me, the net of the two is what's on that sheet. Yep.
I'll always take a check.
So what I gave you this year that I haven't given you before, because there's always a question later on the breakdown, so I gave you the breakdown. And any of you that have, those of you who have asked for invoices in the past, I put this breakdown on your invoice. Because some of you like to know that $87 of it is actually attributable to the fire district. And so some of you actually like to know the source of the due count. And that's what this sheet is. And you'll see this breakdown if you have me invoice you for the, you get a check from me, so you don't have to worry about it. Sam?
I'm a little slow. Can you go over that again for me?
Of course.
Where it says to do town, like over on mine, 40 for example. We come down into 000 is a credit in the town. And then we got one for a credit of $113.22. And then there's another one for 1171 in those districts
Yes.
for the DMNet. What's that? Is that overpayment?
No, so those are usually a factor of, so what also is figured in here to make it more murky. When we do the levy in January, okay, you might say that your levy is $1 million. But when we produce all the bills, we might get $999,980, we have a $20 shortage on the roll, right? So the roll produced $20 less than I made you whole. That becomes a factor in this due county as well. So any shortage on the roll is also in this number. So shortage on the roll and corrected tax bills are the two biggest drivers to due county. Because the roll never produces an even amount that you say it's gonna produce.
And then some of it is when somebody that had a huge assessment and also.
That's the corrected bills.
Yeah, well, yes, but they have a write-off.
Pro rata.
They have can't think of the word right now. They have something against it that they get a deduction. And so what happens is it gets sold and the next person doesn't get the deduction.
Those are pro rata.
Yeah, those are the pro ratas. It changes every damn thing. It just.
So where it says 11,529.62, is that credit of the 224.93 already taken out of that or no?
Yeah, so it'd be the 11,529 minus the 224.
Okay, and when does that check due by?
Deb, I think we've settled before on like middle of November at the latest, or end of October.
The end of October would be good, yeah.
Yeah, Halloween is a great due date.
And you send us out a notice on that?
If you ask for one, I make you an invoice.
Could you do that? Just so I don't forget it.
Send $4 invoice.
Bill Hartford.
You guys make me feel good.
Bill Mason for our bill, that's right.
Oh.
I won't pay it.
I've got it.
I'm listening, Supervisor.
On my house got fire. $477.59. So, down, so it's fine. Right, you said it, your tax bill. I'll set it. What's the question? I get it. That's why that's a portion we've got to pay the county, right?
No, that's actually due to town.
When you,
That's actually money I owe you,
Okay, so you owe me 400 and I owe you.
2,200. And I can, so we net those two numbers out.
I owe you whatever, 2,200.
Minus the 477.
I'm getting money back. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so you owe me 1,752 is the net of those two numbers.
Okay. Minus the 1752, that's minus the 477.
Yes, sir, we net those two out. Supervisor Tom?
so some of the towns don't have fire taxing districts, but we have a number in there for fire. What is that actually from? Like Dresden is gonna be getting from your money for town fire.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And again, I can go into the, I can send you an email later about your specific instance and what the drivers were to that number. Again, a lot of times it is driven from the shortage or surplus on the roll. And I can look at your specific town to find out what the specific cause of your number is.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
No, just out of curiosity, you know, when that money comes in, you just which is, you know, a little bit of money for Salem. But it goes back in and you just put it back into the general fund, you don't force it out to districts and execution lighting district.
Well, what you do with the money once you get it, Supervisor, is absolutely your discretion.
I'll let Pat know.
Yeah, because it goes back and forth. It basically evens itself out over the years.
The good thing about the foreclosure process that a bean counter like me would love to see changed is now that I don't get to keep any of the surplus, then I have to eat all of the loss. And I've already made you whole. I now find that law very unfair. Then maybe we should all eat the loss proportionately. Because you will never be negatively affected by a taxpayer who doesn't pay at the town level.
That would be a nightmare of work for you to do it.
Happy to do it, Supervisor.
But I want to
So
take, I want to
so
go
the-
back to.
The logic in the past was, well, the logic in the past was, I held you harmless on the losses because of the surpluses. Now the surpluses are gone. So should we still be harmless on the losses?
Yes.
I know that you would answer yes to that question.
The beauty of it is, we get to vote on that, so I don't think it's gonna
So
happen.
New York State will actually vote on that.
So I ran into this before my accident. Prior to the forties, county used to share all its surplus, 1940s. They used to, the county used to share the surplus for the towns.
You received money?
Go back and look and see that.
You only need a couple of
Wow.
current bills.
So where we at? Is that the end of your report?
I have
You're
another-
not gonna adjourn soon, are we?
I actually.
Well, we're
have
not
another
even
question.
close.
I have another question for Al. On the,
Now,
just to put back, the mortgage debt, is that, trying to get the same for
So,
the actually?
I don't, that comes from the county clerk.
that comes from clerk too. That's just whether, and
Unfortunately,
that basically depends on whether property was sold, that people paid cash or they actually.
Cash.
What are you gonna do to me? I'll
Or
be
just
gone in
finance
3 months.
it would get the government, supervisor, declare government knots, you can always request their, request it in advance. I'm prepared to talk about that at GovOps.
Yeah, I mean, we just look at real estate throughout the towns. But the expectation is, you think the expectation might be, it should go up as we're budgeting. But then you find out that actually a lot of the people that are buying in English County are actually coming in cash. And it's not reflected in your mortgage tax, so it's an when you're budgeting money. You don't wanna go high.
And especially when you don't have a huge amount of sales, it can really vary from one year to the other, even the one half to the other half, it's huge.
Things are slowing down.
Yeah.
Supervisor
Well,
Powell, I just looked at Dresden, and your entire amount is driven from the rural generations. Yours isn't corrected bills at all, yours is completely the numbers that were generated when the rates were reduced through the goal.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're looking at resolutions, what, A and B, is
I
that?
got
what-
one more thing, Frank. I've got two others, it depends on when you want me to do.
Well, I was just looking at the next one, you had return to school and village taxes.
I got two others before though.
Okay,
Well, I got two others when I do them.
no,
it's
go
up to
ahead,
you.
go ahead.
Okay, so I sent a draft resolution to Debbie this morning because if you remember, back in July, we closed the fire training center. And because I am a victim of the pickle finger of fate always, lo and behold, the $13,000 capital charge came from Warren County after we haven't had one in a couple of years. So what the deal we made with Glenn and Tim at the time we closed the project was, should something come up, we would just reallocate that part of the 70,000 that we took from you back into your budget. So they need 15,000 of the 70,000 that we put into contingency to pay a roof repair bill from the fire training center. So I have sent a draft resolution to Debbie, so you'll see that in your packet. I didn't see if she got it here. I'm assuming not, because it was literally minutes for the meeting, but it will be in your mail packet. It's just taking 15,000 out of contingency and putting it into the fire line in the general fund budget. which is what we told them we would do, should an expense.
Right. Burnt thing out there didn't have a roof on it.
Well, it's a container, so maybe it rusted through and they patched it.
A bill came in as a roof repair, what,
Unless the roof rusted out, that's,
You burned it up.
well, they might have burned it, yeah.
so I don't know if you wanna, entertain a motion.
Yeah, that way it comes through.
That comes out of
Yeah.
committee.
Motion to do that, Sam, second. Very good.
The other thing, and I hope this is,
Thanks, Jim.
I hope this is a quick conversation, God help me.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
This is going on another.
Beautiful.
We should be opposed.
We're at the point of implementing our short-term rental program where we now have to decide what the application fee is going to be. We had kicked around a couple of different numbers. What the fee is intended to do by the law is to cover the cost of the program, administration, the software that were provided to the third party. And I believe it's 3 or 350.
350.
Okay, we had kicked around initially a possibility of a $250 fee. That would definitely cover our costs and maybe put a little bit in the reserve towards other expenses should they come up. I'm also open to a lesser amount if you feel that we don't want the application fee to end up being a burden, or maybe we do, to a short-term rental operator, right? The application fee is once every 2 years. So I would look for this board to decide something between 100 and 250, I think would be my recommendation. Where you land in there, I'll leave it your capable hands. But I'm at the point where I do need to know that number for the software provider.
That's for 2 years, 250 is not much as far as I'm
It's
concerned.
not exorbitant, I don't
No.
believe.
Yeah,
Sir,
did you, I think I heard you say that the cost to us is gonna be $250.
no,
Is there any cost to us?
there's significant staff time and there's the direct cost to the third-party administrator of the software.
And who's the third party administrator of the
Is it
software?
Deckard? Is that?
Deckard.
Yeah.
Do we have to pay him?
Oh, yes,
Well, what's that cost? I mean, I'm trying to think.
8,500?
What number?
Is it 8,500? The current level that we selected, so it's like a Chinese menu.
Yeah,
And you get to pick the things you want from them. My memory is that we're at 8,500. We picked 2 of the things on the menu.
okay, well, my only point is, I think we have to make this fee, and I don't like permits, be enough to cover the cost. I mean, it sounds like $100 doesn't cover the
Over
cost.
2 years, I would say you'd be. I doubt that $100 over 2 years would cover our costs.
So it's gotta be higher than that to cover our costs. Right now,
I
we
don't
can't.
think the 250 is too much to ask, to be quite honest.
Will that cover the cost?
Yes,
Charlie?
Will this be an add-on to the Fort Ann or everybody else? This is already charged.
it's in addition. This is directly paid to the county for the county's registry.
So how do we know if we're on the county registry, if all of our places are on the county registry?
You hand them over.
Well, I'm just asking.
I mean, I bet that's the only way. I bet that's the only way you can
You'd have to
tell.
share that
You'd have to share
information
the
with the
information.
county, or the county charges
And I
your
s-
residents twice,
And
right? They get charged
I
twice.
still haven't been able to answer if we are responsible for doing the portion of it to get the sales tax turned in, or if the short-term rentals are gonna there, where that's going.
So
You follow what I'm saying?
you don't have any responsibility in regards to taxes.
Okay, no, so we don't have to record, we don't have to provide the information to the taxing agency, so they
No,
have this
sir.
information?
No. That's provided either by the short-term rental host or the platform, depending on who collected the money.
Okay, but there's a
So
significant.
you're out of the sales tax business
Well,
completely.
but where I'm going with that is a significant number that aren't on either sides. They just advertise mouth to mouth.
And those guys are required by tax and finance to file.
Okay, so is that figured into your numbers?
So in order to operate in Washington County, including Fort Hays,
Yeah,
they're going to need a number from me,
okay,
okay? My registry has to be shared by law with the state.
okay, yeah,
So the state is going to know who's supposed to be sending them sales tax.
okay.
Whether it's through one of the 18 million platforms, Because unfortunately, I found out that there's not just Airbnb, VRBO and Booking.com. There's about 180 of them out there that you can use. So they're all aware of what the law is and their responsibility to tax and finance. They collect the sales tax, they remit the sales tax, is my understanding. We're out of the sales tax business. And the occupancy tax business, I'm in. So you don't even have to worry about that unless you have a local. Right?
Gotcha. So I'm concerned because I got a significant number that we've got in our files, but I know that they're not on any of those sites. They just do it for word for rough and it's.
And we're going to do the best outreach that we possibly can to educate everyone in the business, whether they use a platform or not.
Okay.
I may have to use newspaper, radio, I may have to spend some money to get the outreach out.
So is there a place I can get a list of that so I can compare with ours and get you the ones that are?
It will depend on what I'm legally allowed to share with you, because it is protected information. I might be able to give you addresses.
Okay.
Which might still be helpful to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because then I can tell.
You can still maybe match up addresses against your.
Exactly, yeah. That's how we would do it. It would be the address.
Because the law also requires me to share with the town, if I remember.
Yes.
They're all, so many.
Melissa.
The short-term rental administrator Decker, their price is actually $18,000 per
I
year,
misspoke,
per year, so it'd be 36,000.
over 2 years.
Yes, we all.
Sue, I think, next.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, like with Airbnb, when you sign into Airbnb, and they absorb some of that liability costs. They want to make sure you have in CO2, they want to, present your.
When you register with me in October,
Yeah.
you're going to have to fill out an affirmation. You are compliant with all the things in the law that you're supposed to have, such as fire extinguishers, all the things that the law requires.
Yeah.
Are gonna be an affirmation that they have to actively click in the registration process.
Is that New York State law or is that through this
Through state,
Airbnb?
through state. State law requires them to have certain things on premise. And they're going to have to self-serve that is.
Charlie,
So would it be administratively burdensome to charge per bedroom, like $75 a bedroom? Because we have some that are 8, 9, 10 bedrooms. We have some that are 1 and 2 bedrooms.
The platform that we're using is gonna want a flat fee, sir.
And that gets through too, because define a bedroom.
Well, when you say how many guests you're allowed per bed, I agree with you. There's so many things under the
Yeah,
radar.
it ends up being a fee per location.
Yeah.
John, next.
When we do this and they gotta check the box, it's a Chinese menu. Who's responsible for inspecting that? If they're telling the truth or not telling the truth?
So. So compliance is gonna look different depending on whether or not you have your own code enforcement. Because compliance is going to rest on code enforcement. And the county, capital C County, can test John with whatever you want or don't want him to do. And in the towns that have their own code enforcement officer, you can test him or her with whatever you want or don't want them to do.
That fee's still gonna be high enough, we're adding all this to code enforcement and as already a lot on there.
So what I thought I heard over the past 3 days that I have not confirmed yet. My registration fee does not preclude the towns from having one to cover your town costs. Should you have your own code enforcement?
What you wanted to know,
Would compliance officer cover? To report back.
Whomever the town chooses to make sure they're compliant with code.
is there a separate fee that code enforcement charges on when they have to go out?
Not currently, but
That might.
Now, wait a minute, doesn't they do, the county code enforcement, charge a fee for fire inspection, safety inspection?
so there's part of that already in place.
Right, well, I mean, that's the point I'm saying is, I think you can charge a fee on that.
Yeah, I know in 40, the way we have it set up is that we have code enforcement officer. Actually, we have two, we put two on this year, we split what the salary was for one, there's two sections. And we have one that they self-certify that they have it when they come and do it. And then we have the inspector go around to make sure that it's done on an annual basis.
The law
make sure
provides for
everything's still working.
fines. The law provides for fines should they not be compliant.
Ours is $950 a day for.
Yeah,
Or
it's
it's
a
a
fine,
fine.
the community or the state. You, the county.
If I impose the fine, then I keep.
Yeah, I think
So has anybody actually had the conversation with code enforcement, so they know it's fine?
Well,
Because
We
a lot of
haven't
us have.
had a conversation about what you want enforcement to be.
Right.
Right now, we just need to
Maybe
get,
they
we just need to
be
get
in-
online.
I know, but maybe they need to be in on that
They
conversation
probably do.
and,
They probably do.
and then. How soon do you need that figure on?
The code enforcement's
They're
involvement
gonna
won't
charge their
won't
own
move my
fee, so we
fee.
don't. Okay, I'm just saying that maybe somebody needs to bring forward conversation.
Laura Oswald, welcome.
So I missed the last, the question on the table right at the moment? There were a few.
That was everything you know, don't worry.
So, part of the reason that we need to determine the registration fee now is that we are conducting training. Which will actually be held at Mandy Spring Nursery. Double check, but I think we said October 7th or 11th. So we are going to be inviting short-term hosts across the county to show them how to set themselves up on the registration software. But we're also going to need to inform them how much they're going to have to pay to set themselves up on the registry. We are expecting the registry to go live in November. The law authorizes us to start collecting occupancy tax as soon as we have the registry in place. So as of right now, sales tax was collected as of March, but occupancy tax isn't collected until we have the registry up. In terms of the fee, we are, based on past knowledge, guessing that we've probably got 250 to 300 short-term rentals operating out there. But it could be more because it's also going to be encapsulating things like tenting sites that we don't really have any knowledge of exactly how many there are going to be. So the cost associated with this will be the Deckard software, which is $18,500 per year. That's their cost now. Don't know that that goes up in the future, but things typically do. There will be the cost of Al's time to administer it and anybody in his office and my time. When the registrants set themselves up in the software, there are 4 questions that they have to answer that's self-certified, that they have a fire extinguisher, they have emergency contact numbers, etc. There is provision in the law, if we start getting complaints about the safety or other issues of any of these short-term rentals, that we essentially have the authorization to inspect them. That I think is gonna be a longer term decision for us as to how we want to handle that. Do we wanna just initiate an inspection in response to a complaint? Is there ultimately gonna be any program we wanna put in place? I don't know that that's necessary to decide that now because we really don't know what the picture is going to look like. Is anything?
Just have a question. So when you put the training together, you kindly put in there that whatever our fee is gonna be for the county is in addition to anything that the towns. Because what I don't want to do is super much for that is I don't wanna, we have a fee for them, an annual fee for them. And I don't have to think that the
I would
250 or whatever.
imagine we've
numbers.
had.
Thank you.
Your estimate was 240 in the county? Is that what I heard you say?
So that's what we know from Airbnb and Vrbo, just basically from looking at the listings out there, that on an average, there are 240 up for rental. At any given, or no, sorry, not 200, between 250 to 300 up for rental at any given time.
That's exactly, I mean, yeah, not 200, but there's at least 40.
Oh, anyway.
40 addresses, I think.
Well, it's hard to calculate because the address is right, so somebody's advertising, they've got. And then they're off and somebody else is on, I'm saying at any given time, there are 250 to 300 addresses listed,
There are about
but if
30 that are not listed anywhere because it just all over repeats.
And that is one of the things that this software is ultimately gonna give us the ability to identify, is finding ways where people are circumnavigating registration regulations. Which I expect is going to happen.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes, you originally asked for us to set a fee for you. I'll make a motion to set it at $250.
thank you.
Very good. We got a motion, still discussion.
But we're in discussion.
I didn't think it was
We have
ever
a
made.
motion
or no?
Jim made a motion.
No,
Was it me?
I made the motion.
Jim, did I, then I seconded it.
Sam seconded.
For how much?
250.
So we're all on the same page.
I'm with you.
All fair say aye.
Aye.
Very good.
Thank you, Will. You good?
We done with that issue? Run the budget amendments, is that correct?
Thank you, Dan.
Okay.
Are you really going to do that?
Oh, here we go.
I'll do.
Resolution A to accept payment of returned school taxes.
So, just when you thought you were done listening to me. I'm gonna make my annual pledge again, and hopefully Miranda will join me. Part of this resolution, what it does is it also directs me to accept payment of the school taxes and village taxes from November 15th to November 30th. The hindrance of that process is how much it delays the internal process of getting the re-levy numbers on the town and county bills to get the town and county bills into your hands. We have an increasing number of people that want to pay in December. And now with the changes to the tax law, you may have more people come knocking at your door that want to pay in December rather than in January. Miranda,
Can I give them a short,
you
what
can,
happens in that month?
you're more than welcome to join
Do
it.
you guys mind if I just, okay. So most other counties in the area only collect till October 31st or November 15th at latest. Because after you cut it off, you have to wait 2 weeks for postmarks to come in. Right, so say people are paying by November 15th, you gotta wait till you're clear December 1st. At that point, Al and I have to, him first, he has to now collect all the re-levies from all of the unpaid school taxes. He has to process everything into his office. He has to get it over to my office. We have to do all of our checking of all of the rolls to make sure that everything's correct after we put the re-levies on. And then at that point, we have to run an in-house process with IT, print the bills and stuff them and get them out to you guys, all with Christmas in there as well. So last year with having it, through the end of November, Al couldn't even start his process until December 15th. And at that point, he's gotta do his in-house process, then we're involved, people are, we need IT too. And we got done, there was no hiccups last year, but that doesn't happen often. Now Cambridge School, got onto their own TCS system. So now Cambridge, last year they had roughly 300 unpaid school tax bills that were put into our system, he could batch them in. This year, and we expect around the same number to be unpaid, have to be manually put in by Al's office because of the changes that Cambridge School made. So that's gonna put more work on his office in such a short amount of time. And just being the only county that goes through November 30th instead of stopping at November 15th, we're putting a strain on departments that are, we've been understaffed for a few years now, and just other departments that are, he's got a ton of stuff to do at the same time as well. So it just makes our window, our printers can only run as fast as 2 printers can print. I can only stuff as fast as that envelope stuffer can.
And then, our stuffer only is able to run 2 hours at a time successfully. So then you're running, taking a break, running.
I have to leave at half an hour in between the 2-hour run time. That's a new thing.
So I know that there's always been a viewed benefit to the taxpayer for those extra 2 weeks. But I'm not sure and I've made this plea for years and years. Now with the change in the tax code, they may actually give you another reason other than internal efficiencies to consider not doing the collection.
Not to collect.
The extra 2 weeks.
Right.
So instead of ending it
I
November
would, I wouldn't
30th,
collect here at all. Whenever the town and village turns over to me, they're done. That's it.
But you do collect for some towns, so that would.
But that doesn't affect the relay.
I just want.
So the towns are all delinquent taxes. The school and the village are current year, they get relay.
Right.
So it would, basically, when the school and the villages stop their collection internally, that would be the end of collection. Which could be December 31st or it could be November 15th. That's their decision.
So how would you like the resolution to read?
Just take out the part that says I'll collect for 2 weeks.
Okay,
You said notice out, tell
If the bills are already out, it's too late.
or would you tell them?
But the bills only tell the taxpayer. Now, there's nothing on the bill that says I collect. There's a group of people that just do it every year.
yeah, so it basically says you're done. I believe the last school to collect is November 3rd, their last
So
date.
right now, if the dates are on the bill already,
the bill, there'll be the dates.
the date that's on the bill is the date that the collector would honor.
What are you looking for the resolution?
I would like the resolution to not authorize me to collect for the 2 weeks.
It doesn't, well, there's nothing,
Doesn't
no
say-
reference.
Basically says the treasurer has capacity to accept payment on November 30th. You want that to say November 15th.
And let me just see the variable.
Yeah, I can see.
When do you usually collect it? November 30th?
That's what
It
this tells them to
says
do.
the treasurer has capacity to accept payment of these
So,
taxes. That's
This might be a
what-
question for Dan. I may not need the resolution at all,
Right, get rid
because
of it.
everything I want to do is already prescribed by law. All this resolution does is extend the law.
Right, I was just gonna say, that this is the
I think we
extent.
just get rid of it.
So I think you just don't pass this resolution.
Right.
Don't pass it or don't present it.
If there's no motion and second.
No motion or no second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right. Okay.
Good.
Because the law already requires me to accept their returns. That's already required of me. All this resolution is, yeah, oh, and by the way,
Don't stick to my motion, so it's good.
beautiful. And we appreciate that, and I honestly think that your taxpayers will appreciate. No, and that's under the premise that you passed the budget in November, by the way.
B's dead also, right?
Huh?
And B would be dead also, right?
No.
Nobody's even gonna motion it though.
Yeah, so A and B, you wouldn't pass either
Oh,
one.
you don't have to see it.
What fee?
C, child safety passenger.
Okay, I didn't. Child passenger, by Dave, by Sam, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed. D is public health for early intervention, moved by Dave, seconded by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, carried. E is public health for Walmart, so move. Moved by Dave, seconded by Mr. Dahl. Or favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. F. Wilderness grant, moved by Dave. Seconded by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. G is WIC to purchase a new multi-function copier. So move. By Dave. Okay. Sam. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. H.
Brian, is that, even though they're doing it with breakage, is that still all federal funds?
Yes,
I believe so.
So there's no county impact there anyway.
still not zero.
Right.
Yeah, but you said you think so. Is it a fact that it
It's
is?
a fact.
Okay.
H is to amend the mental health for 100% state aid. So move. Okay, so let's do, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. I. Health and safety microwave and equipment upgrades. So move. Moved by Dave, seconded by Sam. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. J is amended budget for social services, $11 million, transferring funds from foster care to family assistance to accommodate a shift.
There you go. There's $1 million in it. What about? There's $1 million in it.
Oh,
There it is. Just asking.
there it is. Okay, need a motion.
May I ask a question?
Move for discussion.
Yeah, cause I have no idea what the answer is. Motion by Jim, second by Dave. Go ahead, so.
Is this American Relief money?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Here. Okay, amend DSS budget for adult protective services, ARPA 3 grant. Moved by Dave, second. Any discussion?
That is American Relief.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. L is a Sept cybersecurity grant program award, amend the budget. Moved by Sam, second by Dave, any discussion?
Thanks to IT for their diligence and continuing to apply for this grant.
All in favor say aye. Aye. M is amend the budget for the capital project number 139.
So move.
Question,
Yes.
what is, interfund revenue?
It's the other side of interfund expense.
Right,
It's the account that the money goes into when you transfer from general fund to the project. The account number is actually 5031. You've probably seen it in your town budget.
well, it says it's going to go into interfund transfer to the capital project, but it's coming out of interfund revenue, so it was like there's something making money somewhere.
No, it's. You're mixing the general fund and the capital project.
Okay,
So it's being expended in general fund as an interfund transfer. It's being received in the project as interfund revenue.
well, I just read that down below because budget impact, okay. General. Complete renovation. So this isn't coming out of fund balance, this is somewhere else, this is extra money flowing around.
It's actually coming out of buildings and grounds outside services line where he has the breakage.
Okay, so there you go, I like that sound better, thank you.
You got it.
We had a motion and a second, I believe. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
This still indicating that there's an cost overrun.
Not yet.
All right. Still within. We're
Still,
looking to have.
ultimately,
20 to
once it all
60.
shakes out, we're still.
We take the three together, will we don't know which ways.
It's the belief of the superintendent that just 25,000 and then some. When you close out the contract will actually be returned.
Just wondering if we were so certain they're still fairly sure of that.
He is 98.5%.
Okay.
I think he's camped out up there trying to make sure the ones.
He's already in it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. N is to Board of Elections 2025 election vote mail grants. By Jim, second by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. O is gonna be snowmobile trail funds.
So move.
Moved by Dave, second by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. P is capital project 130 barn repairs, replacements for state municipalities grant, Sam grant. Moved by Jim, or by Dave, I guess, second by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Q is accept statewide investment in more swimming grant, authorize chairman to sign the contract. Moved by Dave, second by Jim. Any discussion on that?
Yes. But I think during the meeting, was there a question that was raised about the,
Whether we did it or whether we did all the
Get it,
things to
or
get
is
it, I don't know what the answer
So
was.
the wording in the actual grant application was, there was word or, so it was for additional staff or for the increase in the pay grade.
Gotcha.
So it'll be covered in that amount, should all be.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you for getting it in.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Yeah, it was a good answer too. Ours to amend the budget for the Hudson River Black River assessment.
What happens if we don't pass it?
How many times
I think they just take it from you.
I could answer that.
Yeah, cause he got the.
I got the threatening letter last year.
They're gonna sue the treasurer before we hear.
I got insurance.
Since that wasn't in the budget last year, and it was more of a political statement, to be honest.
Yeah,
Is it going in the budget this year?
yes, I believe it's already in, but I'll have to look. But yeah, there's no point in keeping it out anymore, cause you can't win on the damn battle.
Yeah, we do it.
Well, when you're up 40%, you might as well have everything in there that you're not gonna, otherwise it's just gonna take twice as much.
Dr. Roy.
Yeah, well, I was 2 weeks ago. Okay, I had a motion by Dave. All right.
No second, yeah.
I'll second those. So, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, carry all. As is to correct the tax roll. So moved. By Dave. And again, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carry.
Dave, that'll be a new county next year.
And T is set time and place for the public hearing of this directory. D, overriding the tax levy.
You think we're gonna need to do that?
We're so far behind, we think we're first. No move.
Sorry?
It's a small penalty, if I remember.
They withhold whatever you went over. It won't be a small penalty when you're up this percentage.
If you do it, if you do it right, the only current legislative penalty in place is the loss of your raise the age money. What I found out this week, another county who overrode the cap applied for a waiver and still got their raise the age money. So that was good knowledge then.
But that's what you.
But that waiver isn't guaranteed, but also our raise the age money isn't significant enough to not consider the over.
Well, and this would be a bad year to not override and then actually go over it because the increase is so much, you have to put that in escrow.
So the penalty for not doing it right is to reserve the amount you
Yeah.
cover.
What about on town level? Same,
Same thing,
Same thing.
same rules.
You should raise the age.
reserve the money that you go.
If you don't do it right, you have to set aside the money that you went over about. To offset the 27 levy.
I just need to vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do you have a question?
No, yeah, I got that on this one, but I got a statement.
Okay.
Frank, can I ask you? Well,
Yeah.
Let Supervisor Hall go first. I have.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to say, I wasn't being facetious when I asked the questions about the family assistance transfer of foster. There's already, well, they've already spent money down there if you didn't have. I just wanted to question to make sure that that money was in there to move over. But they haven't already got something already obligated to us to spend, that's all. Because there's no track on the other millions of that, I don't know if we have one on this one.
It's a possibility.
I just didn't want to see us further.
Okay.
Two things real quick, Brian, if you don't mind, and then.
Well, should we go right to set the public hearing for the?
Oh, you're in the middle of something.
I think we gotta set the public hearing for local law, you know, right there. Or is that take care of all that?
Yeah, that's okay.
That took care of all that. Very good. Okay. Go ahead.
So. Two things real quick, and I promise to get quick. I was remiss, one of the things I wanted to share with you during my report today, and I got off track. Just this morning, I got the projection for the December 2026 retirement bill. It went from $6.2 million to $7,089,000. So I got the break this budget officer's heart once again this morning. We thought we were doing a good job at putting it at 6.5. So we're short on what we thought it was gonna be. So he's got another 380 some odd $1,000 he's gotta find. And the other thing I wanted to ask you all about, what I noticed missing from the packet, and I think it happened in committee, I don't want to forget the fact that we have mental health competency bills in the chute that we can't pay because there's no budget in place to pay them. There's no resolution in this packet to amend the budgets. I just want to make sure that it's my understanding that we're still withholding those state bills for the competency exams.
I believe so.
Okay. Just so that I'm on the same page.
More of which ones? Yes.
Yeah, there's currently 3.1 million in that account to take it involved.
She do it.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, like our news funds.
I thought it was done before.
Yes, Miranda, go ahead.
You have a, Brandon, do you have a change?
Is that our news funds?
Covered. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Perfect. All right, so then I have to thank you. Okay.
Sam, I can say, it's like. The budget, the minute says transferring funds in the amount of $1 million from foster care services, so for minutes. Thank you.
Where's it, Sam?
Yeah.
Yep.
Seems it.
I think so.
All right, there was a mini bid put out by DSS for 2 vehicles, so they would like to award the mini bid to Denoyer Chevrolet. It's at a price of $49,951.22. That is for 2 2026 Chevrolet Trailblazers.
Is that, saying that reimbursed by the state or is it all reimbursed by the state?
Part of it is, I've always thought about 25%.
It's not the 75-25 you've been told for years, but there is a reimbursement. And because they're over the 25,000, it's actually capitalized over 5 years and not all in the same year. The continuity even.
This does not require a resolution because it is under 50,000. And the purchase of these vehicles actually allows the feeding of the carpool vehicles. So that is the reason we need these vehicles.
I'll move it. Moved by Sam, second by.
I'll second it with a question.
But
I was thinking about insurance and foster care, but at the beginning of your conversation, does this affect carpool? How is it, there's 2 vehicles that everyone we buy for
Yes.
purchasing? Okay, and so at one point, we talked about having too many cars in carpool. And this will increase that or lessen that?
So the conversation in the past, I don't believe was so much about having too many cars in the carpool, but maybe some of the fleet vehicles.
Yeah.
The fleets may have too many in them. The reason to get these is because there is a reimbursement amount, so we do get money back for these vehicles, so this probably are the purchase vehicles that we would want to stock.
So what will happen, Supervisor, is we'll purchase 2 DSS vehicles. 2 DSS vehicles will then be transferred to carpool, and 2 carpool vehicles will be sold.
Thank you.
yeah, and I think what we were trying to set up, or maybe we did.
I have a different thing that we'll be talking about during the budget process.
Yeah, we were gonna take 4 when we put in 3.
And did I catch for that part where it is 75-25? Not
It's not.
62?
Well,
Might be left.
certain ones are, but we don't know which ones are. We just know the overall averages.
So depending on what program they're most utilized for, departments, the rate they're reimbursed on.
Yeah.
There's some reimbursement on all of them. It's just not the flat 75 we would like.
That's the change.
Well, it's always been that way. We just found that out.
Then I have one other item, brought to you by the buildings and ground superintendent. He has safety days coming up. And would like to purchase food for the safety days at an amount of $500. He does have that budgeted.
You need a motion for that?
Yes, please.
Motion to buy food. Got it from Jim, second by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Motion to buy food for the people here.
There are no second.
Did everyone
How
give a
many
report
people
or
have been
on
running
Medicaid
around today?
or on,
Mission Creek.
yeah, the Mission
How
Creek
many,
for
you know, how
Medicaid?
many?
Everybody
Alright.
get one of these?
I'm guessing 30 something. That sound about right for buildings and grounds?
Hey, might have to go over my weight.
That's almost $15 a meal.
That's cheap.
Can't get that.
Can't get that at McDonald's.
What the hell's water and a pizza? You get 8 people with one pizza, it's all right. Or not have any chicken.
Plus.
Yeah.
John did eat, man. Yeah, so it'd be about 30.
I had a terrible burger, $27.
Was that the lead in it?
Lettuce, it was the lettuce.
Oh.
That's what the extra.
How about the poor Henry
Okay.
time off easy?
Are we on to budget other? Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've handed out three things. The Medicaid one's the big deal. This is old, cannot for some reason find it in their archives, which scares me. And when I called NISAC and asked them, oh, we'll send it to you, and never heard a word again. So then just this last week, the story came out that there's been a 61% increase in the funding that this refers to. Over the last 4 years, $17 billion. So this tells you why what they're doing, God bless you, isn't sustainable. And I just wanted everybody to see a copy of it because this probably foreshadows either the Medicaid cap going higher, they will pay more next year, or total removal, and I don't know which. I know at one point, one of the news stories reported there was a million illegal immigrants on it, and Trump took that money away, so I don't know how that even enters into it, but it just makes you show that the whole thing's changed, and there's a good chance that's gonna be a problem in the near future. I thought it was great information when I got it, and then when I found out just a couple of days ago that there's it's up $17 billion, and they're not reporting it. That came out in the news story, so somebody's gonna report it pretty quick. You'll see that New York is way ahead in the amount, and the whole idea is, and Sam will remember this well. Basically, everybody that heads to Washington wants to get more for the district than what they put in. This has been New York's way of getting more back than they put in. And so we're way out in front. They tried to add housing to this, if you remember, like 3 or 4 years ago, and that got turned down at the federal level, or we'd be even worse shape, especially if they cut it back. So this is really for information purposes, and the number of people that have been added to Medicaid is huge, as we've seen in the news lately. The second one's the staffing pattern. I wanted everybody to see where the staffing pattern was 10 years ago. And so if we're up 182 total, that's 18.2 a year. So part of the reason for outgrowing our building and worried about space is we've gotten probably bigger than we might need to be. I don't know that for sure. But it does get worrisome when you're adding that amount of people a year. It also grows the budget. I remember all too well, I don't know what year, when Mr. Nolet got up and said, here we grow again, and we grow every time. So that's for information purposes.
So I had a question. I mean, some of these know the use, like the sheriff. If I do my numbers correctly, I think 29 of those were from the resource officers, plus picking up from Ford and Whitehall and whatever.
You picked up Fort Edward and Whitehall, and we've added, right, the school.
SRO, yeah,
You've
I
added
think that's
those,
18.
and you also have a group since opioid epidemic. I think some others have been added. I don't know. Yeah, so that one looks bad, but it really probably isn't. That would be my belief.
But the question he asked was that I think there was probation, what the numbers were. I guess it broke probation officers, we looked at something. That some of those were training positions.
Oh, no, their net changes
Does that
two
reflect
over the
that?
years. Their net changes only 2 altogether that I see here, if I'm on the right one.
Yes.
And then,
I'll wait for the edit page.
yeah, no, I saw that.
They had a net change of
If you look
2.
at Hewlett's Park and Lauderdale, that's not raising number, that's a pool, right?
What's that?
There's a pool of lifeguards,
Yeah, well, yeah, they're in the pool somehow.
right, but that's not.
Part-time.
Right, yes. Right. So I'm just trying to show you where all the changes have occurred, in case anybody wonders.
And one of the ones you probably don't see on there, and this isn't a. This isn't a request for a kudo. But I just wanna make sure that to address a statement that was made earlier, and I think Melissa tried to address it. Department heads are actively always trying to find efficiency.
Yes.
When I took over as treasurer, I had 13 full-time people. I now have 8 full and 2 part, or excuse me, six full and 2 part. Down from 13 full. So we do try, you know, we do try.
Yeah, no, some of our bigger issues have been the mandates. So like what we've done with the defender's office, and that's how we got an assigned counsel. But the problem was that was supposed to be basically fully funded, then they decided to fund just half the increase, and now that's weighed against us. And then they cut back the caseload for our public defenders, and that puts more onto assigned counsel, and that really escalates costs. So that's a huge problem, and so we're gonna have to look at. If the public defender could be full staffed, it's the cheapest. If he can't be full staff, we may have to look at different programs where the money actually goes to.
And look at what you had for public defense when you came here as a supervisor.
Yeah, we had a couple people,
part-timers.
couple part-timers who were good, but they've changed all the laws with rail herring and all that.
So there's a lot that even though the numbers look big, like the ones we mentioned, is that it wasn't our choice.
Oh,
It was
absolutely.
our choice because adding the people actually cut the cost to us.
Oh,
But there are some choices you make.
you're right. Yeah, we have, it used to be we did the mandated stuff in social services, and that's what really got out of control. And that's what we're looking at, in that department, but there's a lot of county costs. And I guess that's where I'm leading into. 20% of our costs, the 20% increase is just because we lost the 3.5 million. So you can't put the 3.8 million back in fund balance, it's not there. So that's that part, that's gone. So that's like 10 or 11%. Then you've got and I wrote this all down and must have left the sheet on my desk. Then you've got $1.5 million about on health insurance. You got another 100,000 on
Walk back to your desk and get it.
I know which one it is. Can't even think of what you call it. It's the other one right in it's in the same area. No, retirement's like $750,000. It's the only other one we do. Workers' comp. And so that, and you add just change in IT, which serves see, these are things that serve everybody. We're at 20% right there. That's not a specific department. That's in totality. That's what's at 20%. That's where our biggest nugget is. But then there's no raises in yet, and we're at 33%. If you add the parameters or try to guess where our parameters are between the unions, which we try to match the non-union, and we try to do the exempt salary and fix all that, you're well over 40%. So the 20%, I don't know what we can do about it. If it wasn't for all the other things, you'd try to find a way to curb some of the things over time, but I don't know exactly where it is because I haven't got all the numbers yet. It's not all put together, but 20% is like countywide. It includes those things. Just through your health insurance, your workers' comp, and fund balance that you no longer have to use. Now, what concerned me the most, and I know some of you think I'm irate sometimes, and sometimes I am because it's what you learn after the fact, but Al and I tried to put learned really early on last year of where things were, and I try not to get in the weeds in my job. I try to look at the top line picture, because that's where we belong. We belong working with department heads and all that. So even when I go into New World, I'm more looking at the top. I'm not going down into the ledgers if I can help it, because I need somebody down there to explain to me what's going on, for number one, because I don't handle those. But number two, I shouldn't have to look there. I should be being told when something's a problem. That's the way it should come to the board. We should expect that from our department heads. So after the budget passed, basically, social services came to us with, hey, we got this reconciliation of 800,000 and or 777, I think was the exact amount. And we're like, oh, well, then you look, and that was for 23. And you're like, and then you got more 24 ones in 24. That ended up to like 1.3 million. And if you remember, at this period of time, we all expected to override the cap. And so by not just coming out and saying, hey, listen, we lost $1 million here in revenue, and we also know we're going over 1 million in expense. They waited till we passed the budget, or we were in line, we were doing all the right things to override the tax cap. We actually had to rescind it, remember, to get our money or something. But we were doing all the right things. But then it hit that we lost $3.5 million. You know, 2 million that didn't actually come in revenue, and we were 1.5 million over budget. So just getting those things in the right order, we could have made better decisions. And we didn't get that. So that's where the problem is. And then you had a net cost last year went from, oh, if it's like, I'm gonna say 6.7 to 10.2, just because it's about 3.5 million. So we had that $3.5 million. When you go net cost, that's $3.5 million loss. So that's where we're at. Well, they budgeted 8 million for this year, but for next year, they're budgeting 10.3 without any of the raises that have come yet. So they already know that that's real. So more than likely this year is real, because it's more likely in the 10 million range, and we're at 8 million. So my concern is we're about to lose another 2 million right there, but I have no way of knowing, because the reconciliation in July last year that was so bad, this year was only like 30,000, wasn't too bad. But basically they told me early in the year that you get really the new rate is about 62%. So they told me that, but then it's a little higher than what they got budgeted. But they've got budgeted still over 70 in last year's budget. So if it's 62, we're still set up to lose about 2 million there, I believe. But I have no way of knowing. That's just speculation from the past and what they're predicting in the future.
You know what's good about that, Brian, is if you go back and check the Human Services minutes, because I think you were at around that park that day. So I asked the commissioner at HHS, based on the rate, the net cost rate that's in her budget and the net cost rate that we're showing actual. I said, are you in line to lose 2.3 million? You check the minutes, that's the number that's in the minutes.
And that's what she said.
Almost what you just, it's almost what you just told the commission.
See, that's just from analysis. So that's
two different ways
true
for the same number.
So she believes that's true.
Well, I believe it to be true.
Okay.
More important.
But they didn't tell you if that was true.
Her worksheet might have shown it.
And so the big deal there is the lag time. You know, there's things you could do. I just wish they brought it to our attention. They didn't. They had, if they're following along at all, they had to know.
There's 2 million could have already been baked in.
Yeah, because if you know at that time, Al's gonna come to us and say, hey, we're not putting in more fund balance. Remember, that was the whole idea, was everyone said, well, we don't want to go over the cap this time. So, okay, so I'll grab a little more fund balance. We look safe enough. But we weren't, because they had lost all that we put in.
We didn't really know till March.
We didn't know till March. I noticed it the day before the finance meeting and said, Al, tell me this isn't true. And we looked, and then they had actually had us raise the revenue number at one of the
Yeah, but
board
it-
meetings, and I said, it's not coming. I don't know, they had us raise the number and they weren't even gonna hit the one they're at. So, yeah, so that's the two together, what you lose in revenue and what you go over on budget together is how we got the $3.5 million less. I have no way of knowing where they're at this year, because everything's lagging, and with the way Medicaid is set up in New York right now, I think the state can reconcile that in December for their benefit with us having no say. So I think that is a bigger issue, that because of all the cuts that you talked about earlier, I gotta believe that they will reconcile that so the state makes out better than we do. That's my bigger concern. Are we really just losing 2 million? Or are we losing 5 million? I don't know the answer to that. Or do they have the numbers perfect? Because last year they did raise their expenses by 5 million. And I questioned it at the time. And then it kind of came to the realization, and when you look at it now, if there was only a $30,000 reconciliation instead of $1 million reconciliation, maybe by changing that, increase their caps. So maybe they knew what they were doing and just didn't want to tell us. That's the only thing I can figure, because this year it didn't really change. They just reduced the amount of revenue that they're asking for in the budget. So right now we're at a 33% increase before we touch any of the salaries that are non-union or union in negotiations. And last time that was a $3.3 million charge with Benny's. And if we're at nearly the same percentage, you'd have to figure that's up, because that was 22. This is the same group coming again. So that even actually cost us 4 million, because the retirement bill is behind a year. So I gotta assume that even though we're over 50 million, and we don't have the exact numbers, we're over 50 million. We taxed last year for 37.9. So we're up, 33%. And I gotta believe we're gonna be well over 40 with what's coming. I just can't tell at this point. I don't have enough information, but we're getting close. So that's what I'm telling you is the 10% was a couple weeks ago. I'm thinking there's 10% built in. No, there's 33% built in right now, and we're still waiting to negotiate salaries. So I guess the sky is the limit. I just don't know how this board wants to react to that, because when you listen to Miranda tell about the money they weren't collecting, and you've just seen a whole rash about the school taxes just coming out, I think 40% is gonna put a lot of people's tax money in jeopardy. And if it doesn't do that and they're able to pay them, it's really gonna take away from food money. But that's my opinion. I mean, I can't assure you that's the case, but not everybody is well off. So that's my concern, that I don't think you want me to present a budget with a 40% tax increase. But, I'm gonna listen to you guys. So if you think I've overstepped or sounded the alarm, I can't holler from the mountaintops high enough and loud enough for you to realize how bad this situation we're in. And if they had just told us when we were gonna override the cap, we could have at least probably kept it in the single digits for a couple of years instead of being right here. I think there was a way to work it, but right now it's incredibly tough. And I'm gonna find a way. I'm probably gonna have to look at cutting things I don't even wanna cut. But, and so my memo, I don't know who it upset, and I don't know why you were upset. It wasn't anything I haven't been saying. It was all just fact. And like I said, department heads I talked to, they realized it and knew it was coming. So, but maybe you've talked to some that were totally irate. That's fine too. My job isn't to keep people irate or not irate. It's to get the truth out that this is the reality of the situation. And when I don't have all the numbers yet today. You gotta remember, we're in meetings in 2 weeks or less. Talk about this budget, and by the time that's done, I have 3 weeks to put that together to get it printed to make the presentation. So there's a lot has to happen here really quick, and I do have to look at not what just happened, but what's gonna happen and where that's possibly going. And so I haven't done anything differently than I've ever done in the past. But the way this meeting started, somebody assumed that I did something. It's not anything different than I've ever done in the past. And I've been pretty much straightforward, tell it like it is. I don't know any other way. I try to tone it down. You don't know how sometimes I'm really ballistic and I won't talk to any of the press or even print when I'm in that shape. Because this one's a tough one. We've never seen anything like this. And the worst part is, we know the federal government's in trouble, number wise, they want cuts. We know the state government's in trouble, they'll just push it down more than likely, if the past is any indication. So you're either gonna have to do less or something, or get more of it accomplished with less people. I don't know what the answer is, but I think raising taxes, if you're, 50, 60%, I just think is gonna give us more people on assistance or homeless. And more, the tax, I think they say 105 properties and most of them homes this time, I think the tax sale was what I heard the other day. So we're not in a good situation, and don't think that any of this is personal. I'm breaking the whole thing down. Like I said, that first 20% increase is countywide. That has nothing to do with any single department. That's just reality. But the reality was, the reason I've got no fund balance to use is because one of them really basically was disingenuous at budget time and didn't tell us what they were losing. They'd say, we have a problem with this or that and whatever, but no numbers, just like we never realized that we went from 5,000 to 22,000 hotel rooms to finally 34,000. And I think they're moving back the other way from what I can tell. But I don't have enough concrete evidence to know if they have a budget that does what they still need to do. I have no idea. I mean, getting information on some of these groups is tough. And you can't say, oh, we want to do this, that. You have to come out a little bit tough on them to get anything. So I'm not doing anything any different than I have or with any bias to any certain group. But I also don't know how you go and ask all the other groups to cut that stayed within in their budget and reward the ones that didn't. And you're talking a small number of people that have caused this increase, that we're paying for. It's not 1,000 people that are involved in this. And so that's a little tougher to swallow for the voting public that are paying the taxes, because you're asking 60,000 people to pay more on that one group of people. And I'm as empathetic as anybody here. And I try hard to make things happen in my town and to do things right, but it's hard to help people that will not help themselves. And we have a certain group that are actually using it to take advantage of us. And that's gotta stop.
Charlie.
So, you're making it sound like one area is the problem, but it's only 25% of the number you're talking about. You're looking, when you throw around 40% number and then you say it's all because of one person or one group.
No, I said 50% of that is countywide. That's the 20% is ours.
Right, but it's
The problem with that is that the money that's missing is the one group, or it would only be half of that.
It is a county problem nonetheless, all the way through.
Right, absolutely.
And DSS is 20% of that problem. The other is the shared service list, maybe 25. But nonetheless, it's our problem with the board. We don't understand DSS, we don't speak DSS, and when they tell us they've got something going on, they don't communicate the way we do, and we should have been deeper in it, for sure, much earlier.
I don't really want to interrupt you, but I want to say this. When they send a email to our administrator that says you don't speak our jargon. If you ask us, we give you the answer. If you ask it the right way, come on,
That's
there's
how
no
our
room,
communication
there's
is.
no
We're-
room
we're
for that.
in charge of this.
Well,
Now,
we
and if
need
they-
to take charge of it. You're right.
And I do have to raise a point. I mean, I know maybe our expectations are all different. But to release information like you released on a Friday afternoon is really the mail you sent to all the department heads.
And what did I release that was so bad?
Friday afternoon without, would have been great if we'd had this meeting already before you forwarded or put out something, because it's ahead of what we're trying to do. It paints a worse picture.
Tell me what you're trying to do. Because I don't know what you're
I
trying
don't
to do.
see any
You must
num-
not be communicating with me.
I'm hearing your numbers. I don't have any numbers in front of me.
Oh,
I got a
never
good
finished that.
ballpark, right, but at least the preliminary numbers. This is how much we lost in fund balance. This is how.
I'll give you that.
And then we need to look at the other things. What things could we do other than raise taxes and cut? Are there any things we can do? Are there any things we can do that take advantage of other possibilities such as financing? Not that I'm suggesting we borrow, but instead of buying trucks out of cash, we finance them. There are plenty of ways to lower the cash burden and spread this out, but we're in the middle of getting the information. We can't provide a solution until we collect all the information.
That's right. And that's all I can do is get it as fast as I can collect it. I can't make them give it to me any quicker. We've tried and we're almost there. And I'm not lying to you. I'm telling you where the numbers are at. We're over 50 million.
That's
And
the
from
ask.
37
Yeah, no, I see
nine
that.
right today.
Right.
Yes.
What was next?
Some of it's not asked, some of it you have to do.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Brian, we've listened to this and right now, at this point in time, pointing fingers is a waste of time. It's our own fault. It's got this far, not this one's, that one's, anybody else. So we just gotta, I don't know, it's a grindstone. No doubt, we're gonna piss people off, but we have to. And that's what we got to look forward to. Never mind how it got here, we're in trouble. Now we gotta look forward and fix what we're going to. In my opinion, instead of going on for
Absolutely.
a half hour or more listening to why. And
No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, Brian, I was a little confused about this thing because several of us went and sat, well, the comptroller gave us a lecture, if you will, or a instruction on how we should be doing the budgets and, the indication was out of that we should be setting up our budget according to what the expenses are, and budget for those things. And, and I know you had agreed with that. Okay, you said.
Well, I still agree with that.
Well, that's not what we're doing.
What are we doing?
I don't see anything here on the budget. I don't see any expenses outlaid here. That's.
Well, because they haven't given them to me yet.
Well, but then.
Once
how
I
could you
have
make-
them, I'll hand them
Yes,
to you.
with all respect, and how could you make a decision on what was there if we don't have all that information? And then put something out that indicates that you have had that information.
Okay, so I'm gonna wait and tell you another week from now, because it's not gonna get any better, it's only gonna get worse, but I'm gonna wait and tell you another week from now when you can actually look at it. I'm just summarizing what I've got today because it's not done. I can't make our department heads go any faster. I mean, I guess I could whip them, but I don't think that's what you want me to do. I'm trying to work with them. I always try to work with our department heads. And so I'm just telling you that the 33% is built right in right now, and I don't know that there's anything you can do about much of that unless there's some sort of cuts. And it's only going higher as we figure in these raises that we know we've got to give to make these departments work. So some things might have to be reorganized in how we do them. Some programs we might not be able to do at all. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just giving you an idea of where we're at and what we're up against. The Medicaid thing, I gave you that sheet because I'm worried about that, because they may not take the cap off, but they may raise it. That's an issue. Well, we used to worry about 1 million, but right now we're closer to 13 million. I mean, and that's before the raises, so. When you're 13 times what the rate or what the tap is, that's, and so you might think I'm out of sorts, but I'm really not, and I probably treated the board more harsh than I have the department heads. I'm trying like hell to work with them. But I'm letting them know that I can cut to get to a point, because like Jim said, we'll cut everybody 5%. Well, I could do that, but what do I gain when I'm at 40 or 45? I don't really gain a lot, for number one. Number two, you have certain departments that have, like Al's office, for instance, has cut people. Other people have gotten larger. I don't know where they belong. That's what our committees are supposed to decide and all that. But at the end, I have to put the whole thing together with something you can live with that doesn't decimate our taxpayers. And that's a big problem.
Sue had her hand up. Well done.
Brian, and I mean, just looking at like, this is the way my mind moves, okay?
Yep.
Staffing, okay? In that staffing, it shows a change in the net change at the end, which we know some of that we're getting revenue for.
Some of it, yes.
Yeah, so school resource officers.
Yep.
So that's still in here, but we know on the
Right.
reverse side,
And that,
we're getting revenue.
right.
And the same way with Port Edward,
Yeah, the sheriff one, I completely can understand that.
and so the
I've
revenue,
talked to the sheriff.
so the revenue changes that figure. It looks bad, but when you start putting in
Right,
the
you have to
service,
know the
the
particulars.
service plus the revenue, that changes the picture a little.
Yes,
Okay, I mean, as we go through, I think it is important to think about how can we change our revenue in our county. I was worried, as I talked with Sam and Dave about this, we just found out that the bottling company that we worked with before the end decided to up and leave Washington County and go to Clifton Park. I mean, I think we need to be thinking outside the box here.
really. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
interesting.
I mean, these things impact us too.
Oh, yeah.
And so we can't just be thinking about placing blame down on DSS. You gotta start thinking outside the box here.
The blame, Charlie was right, the blame goes on us. The
Yeah.
blame is on us not doing
I
our
agree.
job and making people.
I agree with Charlie.
I totally agree with where Charlie came from. I enjoy having Charlie the head of human services because he broke things down in a really nice way and making us look at things just a little different. Even this morning's discussion, he made us look at revenue a little different and things you can do.
And also, I mean, you start looking at like the $1 million coming over from foster care. So obviously it's not working. Okay,
Well,
so that is gonna add additional costs because there are those.
Is what?
I said, where are those kids gonna go? Are they gonna go home with you?
No idea where they're gonna
He's
go.
got a big farm.
I don't even-
Even barn over there.
And of course, that all changed from when they came up with the foster care program, was to get all the housing, certified and everything. And then I don't know if they've got 3 homes or 5 homes or certified. They haven't got many over that period of time. But there's only 2 kids that are in that because the state switched the program to the grandparent thing. And that's like an emergency. So that isn't even under all the training we're doing. And so that's why that isn't working.
I'm gonna go with some history. I know we're in bad shape. I know we have challenges in front of us. We point back to multiple years ago, we did things like cut our paving back by 5 miles. Point is we need to be judicious when we evaluate these things because it could cost us, like in getting back to where we should have been in pavement. It took roads from resurfacing, needing reclamation. Costs 5-6 times more than what we just surface paved. So we have to be very judicious when we look at it, because sometimes if we are making decisions based on cutting, we have to look at what the result is gonna be to the taxpayer. And there's multiple cases where we run the danger in cutting things that are gonna cost more, become more expensive later.
Yeah,
Trucks,
No,
everything else.
that's a good point, Charlie.
And I'd like to take another view on this because we're in a situation that has I think it has 2 components to it. We've got a hole to fill and we've got a permanent catch up that we're trying to catch up from where we haven't been raising competitively our wages. At the same time, we had huge increases in the price of fringe. So the whole is a problem. That's one type of problem. The continuing operational costs, we have to get them up so that we're reasonably competitive but it's, if we say 40%, that covers, that's trying to fix everything, but probably only half of that is gonna be continuing operationally expensive, and we've got to find ways to optimize our operations, and we do have to fill the hole. It won't happen overnight. We're gonna have to entertain financing methods if we believe we're gonna get out of it, because if we can't get out of it, then it just is gonna be so expensive to buy property here, it'll become a ghost
Well, it
town.
becomes,
Like a
it
ruin in
becomes,
Greece.
it becomes prohibitive, all the things we're trying to
Yep.
do.
Yep.
Because we've set it at a tax rate that economic development is totally out of the
Like
question.
the village of Whitehall, 4%, I mean.
And that's my
Even
concern, that we have to
village
look at it,
towns.
we have to look at it differently, but it would be one thing if it was like a department, but the 20%. So like some of that's in IT, when I say 20%, that's like kind of built right in. It's really just the fund balance we can't use. It doesn't matter how we got there, it's fund balance we can't use. It's that, health insurance, your retirement bill, your, what the heck's the other, self-insurance on the workers' comp. And everything, like IT covers the whole thing. And like that, we knew when we passed that last year that was gonna more than double the maintenance contracts. Because the first year came free, but that's built in so there's like 20% that's built in before we start. And now we haven't done the raises yet.
But one of it's, you brought up IT. We're not getting the productivity, we're not making our effort to make sure we improve the productivity that is available through the current technology space. So IT, we might spend more money, we should be able to become substantially more productive over time if we put in place a very good, if we agree to it, use of the Copilot, for instance, in the Microsoft world, could take typing and management down dramatically. In DSS, which they do almost 40% of the time, is case management files at the lower levels. There's lots of things we can do for the investments we're making that we're forcing ourselves to make, instead of just talking like we're slashing.
Well, it's not all gonna happen this year.
It's gonna take a multi-year effort to
That's
get
true.
people who want to use improved operations.
I don't know.
Derail the process here, but we're digging deep into the afternoon and expect to have another hour or so of training afterwards. We got a lot of people who've got to leave here.
We want to get out of the tree.
Well,
I already say that out loud.
you aren't gonna get out of it. I'm just wondering, I mean, we're talking about, repaving stuff that happened 10 years ago.
Yes.
I think we're kind of spinning our wheels on that to actually solve anything here.
Yeah, what's the history?
Is
We've
it
lost people.
postpone the training?
We've lost people to training already. I'm trying to find out if we could maybe put the training off until after the board meeting. Do a session after that, but I'm not sure if Bill's gonna be here. I think that might be the problem.
How long is training? An hour?
Hour and 20 minutes.
Let's get it over.
Can we speed this up and?
Well, some of, we're gonna lose some of us, the bus, the
I never
school
agreed
buses.
the 3 o'clock bus pickup was gonna be a problem today, so I got little kids getting off.
And
Yes, we need to take our paycheck home.
What happens if you don't take the training? Can't serve?
Which we don't pay it, they do.
Just out of curiosity,
Right there.
don't we keep your training in our town?
Short timer.
That hurt.
Are we going over the budget?
Yes. We're doing some stuff tailored to this position.
Okay.
Hey, Brian, you have more to report?
No, that was pretty much it. I gave you all the information. I showed you, the only thing I wondered was, do you guys have a place where you want me to start going as far as the increases? That's the main thing.
At the board meeting?
Dan, all I wanted to say is, I think when this is all said and done, a lot of us are gonna turn into you.
We gotta turn into him before
We don't have
it's all
any
said and done.
given that.
Gentlemen, ladies.
I'm going for it.
Do we have a little break if we adjourn?
Yes.
Yeah, you need some kind of a break.
You want
Well,
to
do you wanna break till 2 or do you want 1:45? What do you wanna do?
give everybody a chance to get something to eat? They need it.
I gotta leave like.
1:30.
Can we do 2 o'clock?
2:50?
2 o'clock.
I really feel to hurry
How
up,
about
take
one-
a 15
how about
minutes.
15 minutes?
1:45.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay,
15 minutes.
yeah, we're gonna adjourn. We're gonna adjourn this meeting now and we'll have our training at 1:45 or, what time?
Bob, you would have to come in after the 23rd.
No, Phil's not available.
Okay.
Denise is.
23rd.
Phil's not available.
Well, thank you.
Phil's not available, 23rd.
Yeah, you said.
Right,
Yes.
27.
yeah.